Greetings, everyone. This evening, we embark on a journey through the extraordinary tenacity and, shall we say, inventive adaptability of the Viking people, who astonishingly thrived through the harsh Scandinavian winters without the luxury of central heating. Before you settle in, why not take a moment to show your appreciation by liking the video and subscribing? Only do so if you truly enjoy the journey we embark on together here. Share with me in the comments your location and the time on your clock as you join this journey. It's truly captivating to witness the diverse individuals coming together from every corner of the globe. Now, let us lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan for that gentle, soothing hum, or a space heater if you're in the mood for a little playful deception, and together we shall embark on tonight's adventure. As the chill in the air reached a level that could freeze the bravest of hearts, the Vikings remained unshaken. They withdrew into their longhouses, expansive and low, only marginally more breathable than a contemporary sauna constructed within a barn. These longhouses served as the Vikings' refuge against the harsh winter, a sanctuary crafted from their ingenuity and resilience. Crafted mainly from timber for those fortunate enough to dwell near trees, or from turf and stone for others, these structures were designed to hug the earth, preserving warmth and providing ample space for several families. In certain instances, a few carefully positioned cows found their place within, for what could be more comforting than resting beside a creature that chews cud and releases warm steam? To endure the biting chill, one must embrace the power of shared warmth. Imagine a longhouse, a grand communal thermal battery where human and animal bodies, alongside a warm fire pit, coexist in a snug, unventilated embrace. It was more of a refuge for survival than a traditional home, a cozy haven for enduring the storm. The hearth flowed through the heart of the longhouse, serving as both a stove and a warm embrace against the chill. In a time long ago, chimneys were but a distant dream, their invention yet to grace the homes of those who still relied on bones to keep their doors ajar. Instead, tendrils of smoke curled and gathered in the rafters, sometimes escaping through a gap in the roof, while other times lingering, darkening the ceiling and transforming everyone's lungs into wool-lined ashtrays. To contemporary perspectives, Viking dwellings may appear overwhelmingly smoky, cramped, and peculiarly cozy. And indeed, they were. Yet for the Vikings, it was the finest choice, a far cry from the fate of becoming mere snow sculptures. Along the walls, elevated sleeping platforms beckoned, often filled with straw, moss, or anything that offered a semblance of softness and a hint of danger. In the heart of the home, families nestled together, often accompanied by their goats, sharing warmth and dreams in a single, cozy space. It wasn't the depth of their love that bound them, but rather the undeniable need for warmth and the absence of privacy in their world. In essence, Viking longhouses may not have offered comfort, yet they were remarkably efficient. They sustained lives through harsh winters, though not without sacrificing comfort or pleasant scents. Viking fashion was a practical affair, focused on survival rather than the latest trends, ensuring warmth and comfort before the day began. In the realm of the Norse, where the winds howled and the seas roared, there existed a profound wisdom that transcended their fierce reputation for raiding. It was the art of layering, a skill they mastered with the same fervor they brought to their conquests, and not merely in a way that involved scarves and mittens. Imagine a suit crafted entirely for wool, enveloping the body in warmth and protection, bolstered by layers of fur and leather, all worn with an unapologetic flair. What lies beneath? Linen, a treasure for those fortunate enough to possess it. The linen fabric danced lightly in the air, its breathability a gentle caress against the skin, effortlessly drawing away the sweat of the day. Regrettably, it had a tendency to tear with ease and came at a high cost to produce, leading many to bypass it in favor of wool. A bounty of wool awaits. In the days of old, Viking men donned tunics that flowed over their sturdy trousers, complemented by leg wraps that served as their version of ancient thermal leggings, keeping them warm against the chill of their rugged lands. Women adorned themselves in flowing woolen dresses, elegantly layered with aprons and cloaks that whispered tales of warmth and tradition. In a world where practicality reigned, each individual donned belts to secure their belongings, while pouches hung at their sides, ready to hold whatever essentials they might require on their journeys. In the midst of uncertainty, one might find solace in the sharp edge of a knife, the sturdy resilience of flint, or perhaps the unexpected comfort of a piece of emergency cheese. Cloaks held great significance. They were secured with brooches, occasionally adorned with fur, and if you found yourself without one, it was likely that your time was running short. In days of yore, boots crafted from the hides of noble beasts, be it the sturdy cattle or the resilient seals, were treated with ample layers of fat to ensure they could brave the elements without faltering. Viking footwear may not have been aesthetically pleasing, yet it was expertly crafted to be grease-sealed and windproof. What could possibly be the drawback? Your scent was reminiscent of a jerky factory. For those truly committed, intestines were occasionally transformed into waterproof layers. Indeed, genuine animal entrails, meticulously cleaned, carefully scraped, gently dried, and skillfully sewn into a unique form of a proto-raincoat. Though it lacked breathability, it effectively shielded against snow and rain, and who could dare to question your attire when you are enveloped in the very essence of life itself? Hats, mittens, and scarves were the quintessential accessories, typically crafted from felted wool, a material transformed through the art of being until it surrendered its form, evolving into a cozy, dense fabric. Without gloves to shield your hands, you tucked them into your cloak, praying that no one would catch sight of your fingers, turning a chilling shade of blue in the heart of the frigid Scandinavian nights. The Vikings adhered to a singular culinary principle for survival. Feast as if your very existence hinges on it, for indeed it does. Calories were not merely a treat. They served as a protective layer. The cuisine of the Vikings during winter may not have been refined, yet it was hearty, rich in fats, and strikingly utilitarian. Let us embark on our journey with the fundamentals. Meat, dairy, grain, and preserved fish each a character in the grand tale of sustenance. A bounty of preserved fish awaits. They smoked it, salted it, dried it, fermented it, and offered no apologies to anyone. Lutefisk, a curious creation, is white fish immersed in lye until it becomes a blend of culinary delight and bold challenge. While it may not tantalize the taste buds, it certainly boasts an impressive resilience against decay. For more substantial fare, stews with a favored choice. Vikings cast their offerings into a bubbling pot above the crackling hearth. Chunks of meat, earthy root vegetables, hearty oats, and even tangy sour milk. As time passed in the simmering pot, the flavors deepened and the dish transformed into something truly remarkable. The outcome may not have been dazzling, yet it had a hearty essence that lingered, perhaps even clinging to the bowl itself. In the tapestry of daily life, dairy emerged as a constant thread, weaving its importance throughout the seasons. Yet it took on a particularly vital role during the cold embrace of winter. During the sunlit days of warmth, cheese and butter were crafted with care, then preserved for the chill of winter, ensuring sustenance through the frosty months ahead. And certainly not the smooth, velvety brie kind. Contemplate deeply, briny, circular discs of dairy essence, crafted for endurance. Ideal for gnawing, bartering, or flinging at wolves. They crafted sky, a delightful concoction that danced between yogurt and cheese, embodying a Viking spirit that promised satisfaction and gratitude with every bite, rich in protein and bursting with a tangy punch It was like a bold wake-up call for the taste buds. Exhilarating yet perplexing. In vast quantities, grains were carefully stored away in the ancient kitchens. Barley and rye came together to weave the fabric of flatbreads. And porridge, staples that nourished the souls of many. In the days of the Vikings, bread was a hearty creation, rich in darkness and density, occasionally infused with crushed tree bark to extend the precious flour supply. Once more, it lacked flavor, yet if your blood sugar remained above freezing, it was fulfilling its purpose. And at last, we arrive at the subject of alcohol. Ale and mead held a significance beyond mere feasts. They offered warmth, a gentle touch of healing, and a sense of solace when the chill had settled into your very bones. Mead had a magical way of whisking you away from the reality of a smoke-filled shed, surrounded by livestock and the chatter of 6 relatives. And if it had a dreadful flavor, all the better, for no one would dare to pilfer your uneaten portions. As the harsh winter descended upon Scandinavia, a familiar chill that the Vikings knew all too well, they sought refuge in their most dependable source of warmth, various creatures of the mammalian kind. Welcoming animals into the home was not seen as peculiar. Rather, it was viewed as a clever use of resources. In the heart of Viking longhouses, a curious gathering took place. Chickens, pigs, sheep, goats, and even cattle found their way indoors, not for the sake of friendship, but to share in the warmth that only their presence could provide. Imagine a time when warmth was summoned through the gentle sounds of cattle, a clever invention of the medieval era that brought comfort to the coldest of nights. In the heart of the longhouse, there existed a special nook known as the byre, a unique blend of garage, meat storage, and stable where the livestock found their home. A humble barrier stood between the creatures of the earth and their human counterparts, creating a delicate balance in their shared world. And by semi-separated, we mean near enough to catch a whiff, yet distant enough that reaching out for a touch might lead to unexpected repercussions. On fiercely frigid nights, the lines between reality and imagination faded away. A family may draw nearer to the byre, seeking warmth and comfort in each other's presence. Little ones may drift off to sleep next to a gentle sheep. Should the ox be warm and eager, then congratulations, for that was your pillow. No, not warm and inviting, but certainly I'm PACTFUL. It was a straightforward concept. Creatures produce warmth. A cow radiates warmth akin to a small campfire, needing no kindling to spark its gentle glow. In the harshest of circumstances, that precious warmth could be the thin line separating a night of frostbite from one where you merely awaken to the grating sound of a snoring pig. Naturally, the consequences were far from delightful. One had to navigate the cacophony, endure the pungent aromas, and occasionally contend with a misplaced hoof. And yet, the Vikings remained silent in their struggles. They grasped a truth that resonates across all hearts. Embrace the warmth of all the present, for dignity shall follow in due time. It transcended mere warmth. By keeping animals close, they were shielded from the clutches of thieves, the lurking dangers of predators, and the biting cold that could lead to their demise outside. In the tapestry of life, livestock wove together a family's fortune, sustenance and warmth, all bundled in a shaggy, hay-munching form. In numerous instances, longhouses were crafted with this consideration at the forefront. The builders skillfully directed the comforting warmth from the byre into the living quarters, creating a cozy haven. It was a creation born from the primal need to endure, clear, impactful, and boldly aromatic. The Vikings thrived in the harsh embrace of the cold. They faced it all with an unsettling sense of joy. As the flames flickered and waned, the goats grew restless, and the smoke transformed your longhouse into a smoky haven. You found solace in the warmth of one another, your final bastion against the chill. Huddling was more than mere warmth. It was the crafting of a shared bond. Families nestled closely together on elevated platforms, wrapped in wool and whatever bits of hide remained after mending the roof. Privacy existed only in tailies. Comfort whispered through the air like a distant memory. Ah, but what of warmth? That tale was shared. Little ones cozied up among the grown-ups. The elderly were regarded as cherished artifacts of a bygone era. Dogs and cats were not merely companions. They were devices of warmth, adorned with delicate whiskers. In a cozy gathering, they huddled close, sharing the warm, smoky aroma of cabbage that filled the air, all the while feigning ignorance to the deep, resonant snores of Uncle Bjorn, echoing like a wounded elk in the background. Yet this was more than mere physical survival. The chill of winter can gnaw at your thoughts, leaving your mind to wither away quicker than your frostbitten toes. In that moment, the essence of Viking humor emerged raw, straightforward, and surprisingly impactful. They wove tales and chanted melodies, frequently recounting the valor of warriors who met their end in the cold, a narrative that somehow brought solace to all who listened. With a cleverness that cut like a knife, they exchanged barbs, unfiltered and unapologetic. Nothing dispels the gloom of seasonal depression quite like the delightful act of teasing your cousin for their unfortunate tumble into the latrine last week. Gathering around a bountiful table was a vital source of upliftment for the spirit. In the heart of midwinter, the treasures of the fall harvest were unveiled in bountiful spreads, not merely to honor the Yule festivities, but to serve as a vibrant reminder that life endures, and behold, we have turnips to share. Within their halls, the Vikings engaged in spirited games and competitions, weaving tales of cunning through riddles and board games reminiscent of an early form of chess, where treachery was the name of the game. Wrestling matches added to the excitement, often resulting in a delightful chaos that sent livestock tumbling about. The aim transcended mere amusement. It served as a refuge from the chill, the shadows, and the haunting thought that perhaps spring would elude us forever. Yet, above all, they endured the winter, for they anticipated its challenges. In that moment, there was only acceptance, a quiet resilience that embraced the challenges ahead. Despair lingered like a shadow, ever present and unyielding. Anything beyond that was a delightful surprise. In the realm of modern construction, insulation has transformed into a tapestry of fiberglass, foam, and an array of advanced materials, each boasting intriguing brand names and cautionary labels that beckon attention. The Vikings were not afforded such comforts. They crafted a straightforward plan for insulation. Fill your walls with the essence of nature, and trust that it will endure. A Viking longhouse was crafted with purpose, not merely a drafty shack by chance. It unfolded in a way that seemed intentional, in a manner of speaking. These dwellings were crafted with a keen eye for warmth, utilizing every resource at hand. Wood if you dwelled by the woods, earth and rock if you were far from them. The walls stood robust, sometimes reaching a meter in thickness, designed with the intent to ensnare warmth by every possible means. Amidst the logs and stones, they carefully nestled moss, straw, mud, or even the soft touch of animal hair. Anything fibrous, dense, and carrying a hint of warmth wafted into the crevices. Finding its place in the tapestry of the tale. It lacked elegance, and you might have hesitated to press your bare feet against the walls, yet it served its purpose. In days of old, roofs would frequently be adorned with thatch, or, even more splendidly, cloaked in layers of sod, nature's very own blend of grass and earth. This was not merely a fleeting design trend for the eco-conscious crowd. Once upon time, there existed roofs adorned with lush turf, remarkable for their ability to keep warmth in and water at bay. In the right circumstances, these green crowns would even nurture the growth of whimsical weeds or enchanting mushrooms. Ah, the art of nurturing life within the confines of your home. Perhaps serendipitous salad station? Perhaps the ground. Beneath was often merely packed earth, occasionally adorned with a layer of straw or rushes, which were replaced from time to time. And by periodically, we mean whenever the odor could no longer be justified as charmingly rural. Windows were few and far between, and if they did grace the walls, they were but tiny portals to the outside world. Illumination danced from the flickering flames or through carefully crafted openings in the smoke. What's the reason behind the absence of large windows? Due to the high cost of glass, drafts posed a serious threat, and the Vikings were indifferent to the absence of natural light during the long, dark months of winter. And yet, this haphazard assembly of wood, grass, and organic material proved to be unexpectedly potent. It transformed the longhouse into a simmering cauldron of shared warmth and the earthy scent of goats, resilient enough to brave the harsh Scandinavian winter. It was neither a sanctuary nor a haven of fresh air. It likely fell short of any contemporary architectural standards. Yet it sustained Viking families, providing warmth and a hint of smoke to both preserve their food and bewilder the insects. As the flames flickered and the wind roared outside like a furious spirit of winter, the Vikings turned to an ancient practice that had guided them through countless nights of peril. Embrace the night as if your very existence hinges upon it, for indeed it does. Viking sleeping arrangements were characterized by communal spaces rather than private bedrooms, focusing on a strategy that maximized warmth and comfort through thermal mass. Entire families, often accompanied by distant relatives and any livestock that were under the weather, nestled together on elevated wooden platforms that adorned the walls of the longhouse. Upon these humble beds, a tapestry of straw, moss, and hay was woven, adorned with layers of fur, wool, and a sense of surrender. In that space, the absence of sheets, duvets, and embroidered pillowcases spoke volumes. Should it be gentle and harmless, it found its place upon the bed. All nestled into slumber, still adorned in their garments. Transforming into pajamas amidst the biting cold was a surefire way to become a Viking popsicle, so the layers remained firmly in place. There were times when boots found their way into the realm of dreams, worn even to the sanctuary of slumber. If that seems absurd, keep in mind that frostbite is indifferent to your sense of pride. Little ones were swaddled snugly and cradled tenderly. In many households, children found themselves nestled between their parents or older siblings, not for the warmth of connection, but rather as a practical measure for keeping the chaos at bay. It was, in essence, a grand assembly of humans and wool, shaped like a hearty meatloaf meant for a family feast. Partners nestled close, naturally, yet so did anyone who could find a spot to join in. Humility took a back seat. There existed a gentle warmth. If one's feet meandered just a touch, it was deemed a tale of survival, not a cause for scandal. Wool cloaks enveloped the bodies, reminiscent of medieval thermal blankets, offering a sense of warmth and protection. Animal hides, particularly those from reindeer or bears, wove an extra tapestry of warmth. To possess a bearskin blanket was to walk the line between fortune and fortune's favor, or perhaps to be a soul devoted to the thrill of pursuing the most. Fearsome creatures that winter could conjure in more affluent homes, or during especially harsh winters. Heated stones or bricks were occasionally tucked beneath the bedding for warmth. Indeed, the Vikings crafted their own rendition of a hot water bottle, though it was heftier and posed a greater risk of singeing your thigh. What if the flames in the hearth flickered and faded into darkness as the night unfolded? You chose not to rekindle it right away. You drew someone nearer and whispered a phrase in Old Norse that likely conveyed a warning against stealing the fur once more. To put it simply, resting in a Viking longhouse lacked any sense of glamour. In that dimly lit space, the air thick with haze, it felt as though the walls were closing in, and the symphony of snores was all but guaranteed. Yet it proved successful. In the grand design of things, smoke was meant to rise and find its way out through the thatched roof or a vent nestled high within the structure. In action, it hung in the rafters, an unwelcome presence, gradually seeping into the lungs of all who gathered below. In a Viking dwelling, the air was anything but fresh. You inhaled the essence of wisdom. As the winter evening drew to a close, a heaviness settled in your chest, reminiscent of the rich, smoky essence of a perfectly cooked pork shoulder, and thus the pork shoulder followed suit. Strangely, this turned out to have its silver linings. The smoke wove its magic, enveloping the meats and fish that dangled from the rafters, ensuring their flavors would linger long after the fire had faded. It warded off pesky insects and the unwelcome presence of mold. Moreover, the persistent, subtle exposure likely endowed each Viking with a respiratory system reminiscent of a Victorian coal miner. Yet the shadows cast by the downsides were difficult to overlook. Crimson eyes, raspy coughs, and ceilings marked with shadows deeper than the depths of Odin's despair. Little ones and the elderly probably endured the greatest hardships, as their smaller stature placed them nearer to the thickest clouds of smoke. Ah, the whims of physics, always playing tricks on us. In the face of adversity, some families crafted raised platforms or nestled closer to the earth, seeking refuge from the thick haze that enveloped them. Some pressed on, tears brimming as they stirred the bubbling stew, while others navigated their way to bed, careful not to stumble over a half-cooked goat. In a quaint cluster, a select few Viking abodes, a more refined variety, boasted genuine smoke outlets gracefully protruding from their roofs. Yet, for the typical Norse household, the presence of smoke wove seamlessly into the fabric of their daily lives. It embraced you with warmth, enhanced the flavors of your meals, and served as a daily reminder that fire was both a companion and a perilous force to be reckoned with. And when the smoke thickened, you would swing open a door, inviting the crisp air inside, even if it meant your toes would turn to ice. As the bleakest days of the year descended, and the sun chose to retreat for a month, the Vikings embraced a time-honored and remarkably potent means of survival. Gather round for a moment of joy awaits us. One cannot succumb to the cold's embrace when the warmth of laughter and the clinking of cups fills the air around a roaring bonfire. Welcome to Yule, a midwinter celebration that intertwines sacred traditions, practical survival strategies, and a delightful reason to indulge in every morsel within reach. It often commenced with the arrival of the winter solstice, unfolding over days and at times even weeks, swayed by the bounty of the mead supply. This was more than a mere gathering. It served as a lifeline for the mind and spirit. Yule raised spirits when hope was buried beneath the frost-kissed ground. It offered a glimmer of hope, a reason to anticipate something beyond mere survival. In a time of togetherness, families came together. Animals were offered up, a gesture for both blessings and the evening feast, while magnificent fires blazed, heralding the sun's triumphant return. These were not delicate flickers of romance. They were fierce blazes that boldly challenged the night to draw near. They gathered around the fire, indulging in preserved meat, sipping ale and mead, weaving tales of old, engaging in spirited games, and occasionally, just occasionally, their voices rose in song. And certainly not with any semblance of politeness. Vikings singing likely resonated, like an attempt to enchant a tempest with a fierce battle cry. Once upon a time, the Yule log was not just a charming dessert or a lovely decoration. It was a grand log that blazed brightly for days, filling the air with warmth and light. It was meant to embody warmth, a sense of continuity, and the assurance of keeping your family safe from the chill, both functional and meaningful, truly reminiscent of the Viking spirit. There existed, too, matters of the otherworldly. In the heart of winter, a season when the veil between worlds thinned. It was believed that spirits, trolls, and the restless souls of ancestors roamed the earth. To maintain harmony and perhaps sway these ethereal beings from their mischief, like the theft of a beloved goat rituals, charms and offerings were lovingly crafted and presented. Indeed, many contemporary Christmas customs have their roots. In Yule, in the heart of winter, the evergreens stand tall, a symbol of life amidst the frost. Families gather to feast, sharing warmth and laughter, while the tradition of gift-giving brings joy to all. The act of bringing the dead trees indoors transforms homes into havens of celebration, a practice cherished by the ancients. Yet, at its heart, Yule was a celebration of unity in the face of challenges. In a realm devoid of light switches, vitamin D supplements, and the notion of seasonal gloom, the Vikings conjured joy from the very essence of their existence, igniting warmth with fire, savoring the bounty of their feasts, and holding steadfast to the belief that the chill would eventually yield to brighter days. For that was the way it had always been. And when it failed to unfold as expected, at the very least, you departed with a satisfied appetite and a tale that deserves to be shared again. In the time of the Vikings, amidst the rugged landscapes of Scandinavia, gold shimmered with allure. Silver held a superior allure. Ah, but wool? Wool was the essence of existence. Wool transcended mere materiality. It stood as the Vikings' foremost defense against the biting chill. Rivaled only by the warmth of fire and the rare embrace of a sheepdog, it was crafted, entwined, sewn, and built into the very essence of all things. Garments of warmth and comfort, cloaks, tunics, socks, mittens, underclothes, and blankets. Everything that could be crafted from wool was indeed woven into existence. It was a straightforward matter. Wool weaves its magic. In contrast to cotton, which wraps around you with the chill of a treacherous embrace, wool holds on to warmth, even in the face of moisture. How convenient it is when the local weather forecast brings you freezing fog accompanied by a touch of regret. In every home, particularly on the rustic farms, sheep were raised not for their charm or the cheese they could provide, but for the wondrous prickly treasure that flourished upon their backs. Weaving the fibers of wool into threads was a task that filled the seasons, often embraced by the hands of women and children alike. In the heart of winter, it transformed into the nearest semblance of warming what lay ahead. The Vikings approached, fashion with purpose, crafting their woolen garments with an unexpected level of tailoring. The tunics were tailored to perfection. Cloaks were tailored for ease of movement. With careful precision, the leg wraps were secured, ensuring that one would not stumble amidst the swirling snow of the blizzard. Design embraced purpose, and comfort embraced design. Indeed, the caliber of your wool spoke volumes about your character. Rough wool signified either a life of hardship or a choice rooted in practicality. Gentle, closely knit wool? That was pure indulgence, the Vikings' version of a luxurious cashmere hoodie. Affluent Vikings had the means to indulge in dyed wool, occasionally even acquiring vibrant hues such as blue or red from distant lands. All around, a sea of 37 shades of sheep enveloped the scene, and let us not overlook the felt, that wool which has endured soaking, stomping, and a bit of rough treatment until it transformed into a resilient, windproof mat. In the days of the Vikings, felt found its purpose in crafting hats, boots, and mittens, and now and then it served to insulate the sturdy walls of their homes. It was akin to weaving a tapestry from fury and the remnants of weary feet. Yet it proved successful. Wool garments were lovingly mended, stitched anew, and cherished through generations. Every moment held its purpose, even the tiniest remnants. Of wool found new life, transformed into cozy socks or soft stuffing. A fine cloak has the potential to endure through the ages, provided it doesn't meet an untimely fate by fire. the whims of the wind are being laid to rest alongside you as a final farewell garment. It might seem paradoxical, yet throughout history, some of the most frigid individuals have also embraced the thrill of intentionally plunging into even colder realms. Indeed, the Vikings embraced the warmth of saunas and the chill of ice baths with great enthusiasm. Why simply endure the chill when you can confront it in an epic showdown? In the ancient times of the Vikings, there existed small huts or pits known as badstoffer. Crafted from stone and turf, these structures served a sacred purpose. Within their confines, hot stones were met with water, unleashing a cloud of steam that enveloped all who entered. There you would be, lounging indoors, clad in little more than your own skin, perspiration dripping like a warrior in the heat of battle, while the world beyond lay encased in a frigid stillness. It was a sweltering, muggy, hazy escape from the frostbitten truth that lay just beyond the threshold. Then, and here's where the excitement truly begins, some Vikings would dash outside and dive into icy waters or roll in the snow, all willingly, for the sake of their health. Or, more truthfully, because they sought to demonstrate to themselves, the deities, and all who observed that they held no fear whatsoever, not even of the biting cold. These hot-cold rituals were not merely for display. They served a practical purpose. As the beads of perspiration trickled down, it felt as though the body was undergoing a transformation, a ritual of sorts, offering a sense of accomplishment in the face of neglect that had lingered for weeks. The dramatic changes in temperature invigorated the air, opened up sinuses, and allowed one to momentarily escape the reality of a life devoid of insulation or relief from discomfort. They also served a purpose in bringing people together. In the warmth of the sauna, families and friends gathered, sharing moments of both heat and chill. It was a space where rituals unfolded and connections deepened, as they collectively released their burdens, letting the steam carry away their regrets. In those times, steam rooms transformed into sacred spaces for birthing, healing, and even served as makeshift hospitals, weaving together the threads of life and care. When faced with a challenge that required repair, warmth, or a thorough cleanse, the Viking approach was nearly always to first prepare it with heat, and preserve it by freezing for added assurance. These traditions wove themselves into the fabric of time, enduring through the ages. Indeed, the contemporary Nordic nations continue to cherish their sauna traditions, albeit these days, the goats are no longer part of the experience. Enduring the chill was merely a challenge, but battling the monotony, that was a struggle of its own kind. In the midst of long dark nights and a frozen landscape, with months stretching before them, devoid of raiding, sailing, or planting, the Vikings found themselves in a realm of creativity. They sought ways to fill the hours indoors, striving to keep their spirits high and their kin safe from the perils of boredom and familial strife. To begin our journey, we shall embark on the essential tasks of repairs and preparation. In the heart of winter, the air was thick with purpose as warriors honed their blades. Artisans repaired their tools, archers prepared their bows anew, and seamstresses stitched garments back to life. Should your shirt bear a hole come October, you can be certain it was mended by the warm glow of candlelight in December, unless, of course, you relished the thrill of frostbite in uniquely imaginative spots. And so began the dance of spinning and weaving. With dedication and skill, women, children, and all who possessed two capable hands devoted countless hours to the enchanting transformation of wool into yarn, and then into garments that would tell their own stories. Though it lacked luster, you understood that your cloak was not woven by mere chance. With each stitch, a new barrier formed, shielding you from the icy grip of the wind's chill. The art of crafting wove its way into the narrative. Crafted from wood, shaped into tools of bone, adorned with antler combs. In the embrace of winter, the mundane transformed into a canvas of creativity. Though the longhouse appeared dreary from the exterior, within its walls thrived a bustling atmosphere of focused activity, occasionally punctuated by colorful exclamations when a needle slipped from someone's grasp. The art of weaving tales was the grand highlight. The Vikings may not have had Netflix, yet they possessed the rich tradition of sagas to weave their tales, grand narratives of deities, champions, creatures, and those kin who stumbled down the path of questionable decisions. By the warm glow of the fire, these tales were shared, each rendition a touch more embellished to heighten the drama. Thor didn't merely slay the giant. He likely followed it up with a mighty punch to the moon. Games played a significant role. As well, in the age of the Vikings, the air was thick with the thrill of competition as they gathered around their game boards. They engaged in Hanafetafel, a strategy game so intricate that it would make chess seem like mere child's play. The clatter of dice echoed as they played games that wove together luck, cunning, and a dash of daring, creating an atmosphere charged with excitement and camaraderie. In moments of tedium, some families would weave riddles into their gatherings, or engage in playful mock duels, bringing a spark of excitement to the atmosphere. Naturally, the spirits played a role in easing the flow of it all. Mead transformed the art of storytelling into a delightful spectacle, adding a touch of humor, a dash of chaos, and making family disputes a bit more amusing for those watching. In their relentless battle against the biting cold, the Vikings relied not only on cloaks and fires, but also on a rather peculiar bond with their livestock. They battled it with their thoughts, and not the kind that adorns inspirational posters, but rather a stark, profound defiance against nature's relentless attempts to bring them down. For the everyday Norse individual, winter arrived not as a surprise or a calamity. It was just another chapter in the year, like the arrival of planting season or the call to embark on another adventure across France. Winter held no fear for them. They readied themselves for it, anticipated its arrival, and greeted it with a nonchalant wave of indifference. That was no mere coincidence. In the heart of Viking culture, individuals were nurtured from the very beginning to perceive hardship not as an obstacle, but as a crucible for strength and resilience. Chill, agony, emptiness. That was not a defeat. What a journey of transformation that was. You held your silence. You persevered, with a stoic grimace, and perhaps a wry remark about how this was still preferable to wrestling with taxes. This perspective transcended mere cultural boundaries. It was a profound experience in the realm of Norse mythology. One encounters frost giants lurking in the shadows, endless winters that stretch beyond imagination, and gods who endure their trials with a nonchalance that makes it seem like just another ordinary Tuesday. When your worldview encompasses a tangible end of days, known as Fimble Winter, a ceaseless engulfing chill that precedes the world's demise, you cease to recoil at mere flakes of snow. This resilience was strengthened through social connections. Weakness wasn't ridiculed, precisely. It was cast aside, unnoticed in the shadows. None wished to be the soul who faltered in the shadows. And thus the journey continued, with each step forward echoing the determination of those who dared to press on. They remained engaged in their pursuits. They laughed about the chill in the air, with a hearty chuckle that defied the shadows of sorrow. They filled another mug with mead and continued their intricate work on the 43rd mitten, the rhythm of their hands weaving tales of resilience. From a young age, even the little ones learned to endure and persevere. When the chill crept into your fingers, you found warmth in your elbows. Should your toes feel numb, quicken your pace. Should you find yourself having plunged through the ice and emerged unscathed, well done to you. You had become captivating enough to weave tales around Dot. Did it promote well-being? It seems unlikely. Impactful? Indeed. Contemporary guides on survival emphasize the crucial role of one's mental approach. The Vikings were already aware. They viewed winter not as a foe to conquer. They perceived it as a challenge, one they had triumphed over countless times in the past, and thus they endured the bitterest of nights. With flames dancing, warmth enveloping, and a defiant spirit challenging the breeze. Among the many lessons the Vikings grasped with remarkable clarity, this one stood out above the rest. In the depths of winter, solitude is a harsh companion. Survival demands the warmth of togetherness. One may possess the coziest cloak, the plumpest goat, and the most robust longhouse. Yet, in the absence of a community, one becomes merely a solitary figure, adorned with exquisite embellishm in TS. In the heart of Viking society. A tapestry of interdependence wove together the lives of its people. Families were woven together in a tapestry of connection. In the heart of the land, they gathered in farms, villages, or settlements, woven together by the bonds of extended kin and steadfast allies. As the chill of winter descended, this network transformed into your essential lifeline. Meals were exchanged among us. The firewood lay gathered in a neat pile. When the roof above you gave way, a helping hand appeared to mend the damage. When a child fell ill, there was always someone ready with a handful of herbs, a heartfelt prayer, or at the very least, a comforting nod of understanding. This act of giving was not merely for the sake of being generous. It was a calculation of endurance. As the cold grip of winter tightened, each life preserved became a promise of strength come spring, a testament to the bonds forged in the frost. For cultivating the land, navigating the seas, engaging in battles, or simply keeping the cattle in check during the calving season. Assisting others brought a sense of fulfillment, even if it involved parting with your last smoked fish for a cousin you weren't fond of. In the heart of midwinter celebrations such as Yule, this connection was deepened through the sharing of food, the weaving of tailies, and the musings of tipsy reflections. These were not merely gatherings, they wove connections among the people, nurturing spirits and assuring everyone that the shadows were not theirs to bear in solitude. Even the way resources were stored echoed this perspective. In the heart of the community, one could often find communal granaries, meat cellars, and smokehouses, each telling a tale of shared sustenance and tradition. When the provisions of one family dwindled, the others came together to lend a hand, not out of mere courtesy, but because the winter stretched endlessly, and a single frail link in the chain could pull the whole group into despair. Justice and leadership wove their threads into the fabric of the tale as well. In the heart of the community, the local chieftains, known as Godi, took on the noble task of not only upholding order, but also ensuring that no soul succumbed to the bitter cold in a lonely ditch. Their standing was intricately tied to their skill in navigating the realms of law and logistics. A revered figure was one who could resolve conflicts and coordinate the gathering of firewood. There existed, naturally, the influence of peers. In a time when every action echoed through the community, attempting to stockpile provisions or neglect your duties would not go unnoticed. In the world of the Vikings, facing the scrutiny of the entire village was a fate almost as dire as death itself. In the quiet aftermath, amidst the snow and the enveloping darkness, with the gentle sounds of livestock nestled in your bed, one undeniable truth lingered on. The Vikings thrived through the harshness of winter. They transformed it into a stage for testing and challenge. Each layer of wool, each wisp of smoke, and every dark chest shared by the fire wove together a rich tapestry, crafted with a singular intent: perseverance. Winter stood as a mere backdrop, a canvas for the unfolding tale. It was a rival. What of the Vikings? They dedicated themselves to relentless training throughout the year for the match. They evolved with every twist and turn. When the longhouse felt the chill of the wind, they would lovingly mend it with soft moss. When the stew lacked substance, they enriched it with turnip to give it more body. As the night stretched endlessly, they wove together tales, engaged in games, performed rituals, and sometimes even indulged in spontaneous wrestling matches among cousins. Is there no central heating? Very well. They crafted fire pits. There is no gear that can withstand water. From the wool of sheep and the tenacity of spirit, it was born no antidepressants. They spun tales of epic proportions, shared mead, and wielded a dark humor that sent seasonal gloom scurrying away. In a time when many civilizations would retreat into the shadows of winter, the Vikings seized the season as an opportunity to fortify their strength. The weapons were mended and restored to their former glory. Young ones were guided in their learning. Amidst the flickering flames, fresh concepts began to take form as the ice melted away. These individuals did not emerge, squinting into the bright light. They emerged prepared to sow the seeds of ambition, craft vessels of adventure, forge bonds of camaraderie, or embark on voyages across vast waters to lands that promise warmth, wealth, or treasures ripe for the taking. The chill of winter did not diminish their spirit. It forged their resilience, transformed them into sharper, fiercer, and more creative beings. Their triumph was not born from enchantment or celestial protection. It emerged from an unwavering, frequently hazy dedication to endure through every possible avenue, whether it involved resting beneath the warmth of a steaming hut or consuming yogurt that served as a makeshift adhesive. They embraced every moment, united in their adventure in the heart of the Kentucky wilderness. On February 12, 1809, a remarkable journey began within the humble walls of a one-room log cabin. Here, where the struggle for survival was a daily reality and the pursuit of education often took a back seat, a future leader was born. In a humble setting, there lived a man named Thomas Lincoln, a diligent farmer and carpenter, whose hands were calloused from toil, yet whose mind remained unrefined by formal education. In the heart of the frontier, there lived a woman named Nancy Hanks Lincoln. She was a quiet soul, gentle in spirit, and possessed a gift for words, an uncommon treasure in those rugged times. In a humble existence, they toiled side by side, carving out a life from the meager earth and the dense embrace of the forest. The cabin stood bare, devoid of windows, lacking a floor, and utterly absent of bookshelves. In the early chapters of Abraham's life, the scene was set with flickering candlelight, a profound silence, and the relentless rhythm of hard work. He would spend his days in the woods, wielding an axe to chop wood, hauling water from the stream, and donning garments that were stitched together with more patches than actual fabric. In those formative years, the halls of formal education remained untouched. Indeed, Lincoln would come to reflect that he had barely experienced a full year of formal education throughout his life. Yet he possessed something far more potent, a restless intellect and an insatiable desire for knowledge. In the year 1818, a shadow fell upon young Abraham's life as he faced the loss of his mother, Nancy Hanks, who may have succumbed to the affliction known as milk sickness. At just 9 years of age, he was left to navigate the world without her guiding presence. Her passing created an emptiness in the boy's world that would forever remain unfilled. She was his steadfast support, the one who recognized the unique spark within him. Once the earth had embraced her, lovingly laid to rest by hand in the serene woods behind their farm, young Abe took it upon himself to carve a wooden marker, a tribute crafted from his own hands. It was raw, unrefined, and drenched in sorrow, yet it conveyed every emotion. He recalled her presence. Several months passed, and in a twist of fate, Thomas found love again with a widow by the name of Sarah Bush Johnston. In a world often painted with the brush of cliches, Sarah emerged as a beacon of warmth, filling the home with the magic of books and the comfort of structure. She saw the spark of brilliance in Lincoln and nurtured his thirst for knowledge. Amidst the hustle of daily tasks, he eagerly consumed every tale that crossed his path: Aesop's fables, the adventures of Robinson Crusoe, the profound lessons of the Bible. If he found himself without a book, he would take up charcoal and inscribe his own musings upon wooden shingles. In a world where innocence often dances with the shadows of reality, there stood a boy, barefoot and slender as a reed, his expression bearing the weight of wisdom far beyond his tender years. Within him a spark was igniting, a quiet determination. Taking shape, life had offered him little, devoid of wealth, relationships, or comfort. Yet within him burned an unquenchable flame, and in that modest cabin nestled in the Kentucky woods, Abraham Lincoln embarked on a remarkable journey toward greatness. As Lincoln navigated the tumultuous waters of his teenage years, the frontier remained unforgiving, its challenges only intensifying. Once more, his family embarked on a journey, this time finding themselves amidst the thick, mysterious swamps and lush forests of Indiana. Each day unfolded like a fierce struggle against nature. As trees were cleared, thick clay soil was plowed, and the harsh winters were endured with nothing but a flickering hearth fire and a glimmer of hope. Yet, even as his form was shaped by the axe and the earth, his thoughts wandered far beyond that realm. Among the neighbors, he earned a reputation not for his remarkable strength, despite his impressive physique, but rather for his extraordinary height and his unusual penchant for diving into books at every opportunity. He would stroll with books in hand, reciting Shakespeare from memory as he mended fences, and find solace beneath the trees, pouring his thoughts into the margins of any scrap of paper that came his way. His humor started to take shape, marked by a dry wit, keen observations, and a touch of self-deprecation. He stood apart, the lanky youth who recited Jefferson's words, while his peers exchanged tales of their hunting exploits. Lincoln possessed a rather peculiar social demeanor. He possessed a quiet demeanor, yet his words flowed with an enchanting charm, a blend of peculiarities that drew others in. When he chose to share his words, all ears were attuned to his voice. They were powerless to resist. His words resonated with clarity and strength, often laced with humor, yet always directed toward a profound truth. Even in those moments, his sense of right and wrong remained unwavering, guiding him steadfastly forward. He loathed the very essence of cruelty, detested the chains of slavery, and abhorred the veil of ignorance that was wielded to rationalize such horrors. In a world where formal education often dictates one's path, Lincoln emerged as a figure of determination, nurturing a fervent passion for the law against all odds. The notion that eloquence, rather than violence, could triumph in conflicts captivated him. He embarked on a journey of self-discovery, mastering the art of clear writing and the craft of logical argumentation. He delved into every tome of law that crossed his path as darkness falls. While some indulge in drinks or chants, the night unfolds its tales. In a shadowy chamber, Lincoln would immerse himself in the pages of Blackstone's commentaries, the flickering candlelight casting dancing shadows around him. In the dawn of his 20s, he bid farewell to his home for the last time. He toiled as a flatboat man on the mighty Mississippi, bearing witness to the grim realities of the slave trade in New Orleans. The vivid images would linger in his mind, etched deeply into his very being. Upon his return, he settled in New Salem, Illinois, embarking on a journey of self-reinvention with determination as his compass. He delved into the intricacies of grammar, became a member of the local debating society, and embarked on the arduous journey toward his dream of becoming a lawyer. He possessed neither diploma nor degree, nor any esteemed lineage. What he held was a steadfast belief that knowledge wielded power, and that it could be shaped, much like all else in his existence, through relentless effort, a clear vision, and a touch of hardship. When Abraham Lincoln stepped into the role of a lawyer, he had already woven himself into the fabric of central Illinois, not through accolades, but through an undeniable aura. He was not the sort of man who entered a room and commanded attention through lavish attire or smooth charisma. He frequently appeared disheveled, his trousers a tad too short, and his coat hanging awkwardly on his frame. Yet, as he rose to share his words, the crowd drew closer. Captivated, he possessed treasures far beyond mere fashion clarity, honesty, and a connection that resonated with others. Lincoln's journey through the legal realm was anything but ordinary. He chose a different path than law school, with the wisdom of generous attorneys guiding him through borrowed law books. He embarked on a journey of self-discovery and determination, ultimately conquering the bar exam through his own diligent study. Upon his admission, he embarked on a journey through the Eighth Judicial Circuit, a sprawling tapestry of rural courts that he traversed on horseback, often for weeks on end. The paths transformed with the season sloppy and wet in the spring, dry and dusty under the summer sun, and slick with ice as winter's chill took hold. He found his rest in taverns, nestled in log cabins, and beneath the vast expanse of the starry sky. Yet his heart was full of affection for it. What distinguished Lincoln in the courtroom was not merely his reasoning, it was his profound understanding of others. He had a unique ability to resonate with jurors in a manner that even the most refined attorneys could not achieve. He would express himself simply, weave colorful tales, and honor even the humblest farmer or the most destitute widow with dignity. One farmer remarked, "He makes you feel like he's one of us, not above us." And that was indeed the truth. Lincoln always held on to his roots, remaining true to himself without any pretense. Yet he was anything but gentle, in the courtroom. When the stakes were high and his conviction was strong, he pursued the truth with unwavering determination. His speeches, though sometimes slow and a bit clumsy, gradually gathered strength and energy. He would stack truths like bricks, one by one, until the opposing side collapsed beneath the weight of their own inconsistencies. His cross-examinations were like softly woven snares, inviting yet cunningly deceptive. He would weave a tapestry of ease around the witnesses, only to unleash a question that fractured their narratives. As the years passed, Lincoln earned the reputation of being Honest Abe. It was more than just a campaign slogan. It was rightfully obtained. He would refund fees whenever he sensed that a case was unfair. He turned away from clients who spun tales of deceit. And when other lawyers took shortcuts, he gracefully turned his back. His reputation blossomed as a legal mind who grasped both the intricacies of the law and the essence of the land. Yet in the shadows, another flame quietly flickered. In the realm of governance and power, where decisions shape the lives of many, the intricate dance of influence and ambition unfolds. Each move, each word, carries weight, weaving a narrative that impacts the fabric of society. The law had revealed to him the intricate workings of human nature. Now he felt a calling to transform the very system that surrounded them. As the shadows of slavery loomed larger in the national discourse, Lincoln's inner voice was on the verge of breaking free with a powerful declaration. Lincoln's initial venture into the political arena was not precisely a swift descent. In the year of our Lord 1832, a young man of merely 23 summers ventured forth to seek a seat in the Illinois state legislature, only to find himself on the losing end of the contest. Yet he remained undeterred by failure. It served to illuminate the path he must take, embrace the art of listening, absorb the lessons that unfold, and connect with others in their own journeys. After 2 long years, he made another attempt, and this time victory was his. In Springfield, the new capital, Lincoln swiftly earned a reputation for his thoughtful speeches, sharp humor, and unwavering principles. He spoke softly. He acted without cunning. Yet when he rose in the State House and shared his words, they resonated in the hearts of those who listened. He sought depth over superficial triumphs, valuing substance over mere showmanship. His aim reached beyond the surface, unraveling the intricate tapestry of law, society, and justice. Lincoln found his place among the Whig Party, a collective that championed the ideals of modernization, the development of infrastructure, and the restraint of executive authority. Yet even in his role as a Whig, he treaded carefully when it came to ambition. He frequently quipped about his looks being a barrier to a career in politics. He immersed himself in books with an insatiable appetite, engaged in spirited discussions, yet never appeared to crave power as many others did. Politics appeared to be a weight he bore, rather than a pursuit he eagerly sought. Throughout his 4 terms in the Illinois legislature, Lincoln forged connections with farmers, merchants, and fellow lawyers. Though he didn't dominate the conversation, his presence commanded respect and trust among those around him. He earned a name for himself as a man of strong convictions, particularly when it came to the issue of slavery. While he had not yet taken up the banner for abolition, his stance against the spread of slavery into uncharted lands was resolute. He deemed it unfair, unethical, a collective deception of the nation. In the year 1846, Lincoln embarked on a journey into the realm of national politics, securing a seat in the U.S., the Chamber of Representatives. In that moment, he stood firm, embracing a courageous yet contentious position against the Mexican-American War. Deeming it both unconstitutional and unwarranted, this decision didn't quite hit the mark in the political arena. The people of his district were not fond of it. He completed 1 term and chose not to seek another in the heart of Springfield. He found his way back to the law, united in marriage with Mary Todd, a woman of intellect hailing from a Kentucky family steeped in the traditions of slavery, as he sought to embrace a more tranquil existence. Yet the fabric of the nation was transforming at an astonishing pace. Amidst the turbulent tides of history, the Compromise of 1850, the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and the relentless expansion of slavery were unraveling the very fabric of the nation. Though Lincoln stepped away from the political arena, the essence of politics remained intertwined with his being. The arguments intensified, becoming more fierce and tumultuous. The fabric of the Union was starting to fray, and the man who had always been marked by his carefulness was on the verge of emerging, not as a contender, but as a voice of moral clarity. By the 1850s, the matter of slavery had reached a boiling point. It simmered with intensity. In the year 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act emerged, granting new territories the power to choose their stance on slavery. This decision unleashed a torrent of violence and intensified the rift among the people. Kansas emerged as a vivid emblem of turmoil on the national stage. For Abraham Lincoln, it marked a pivotal moment in his journey. He felt the weight of unspoken words pressing against his lips, demanding to be released. He re-emerged in the political arena, not with grandiosity, but with a profound sense of moral imperative. He became a part of the newly established Republican Party, a gathering of former Whigs, Free Soilers, and abolitionists, all coming together in opposition to the spread of slavery. Lincoln did not embody the spirit of a radical abolitionist. Though he refrained from demanding immediate freedom, his conviction ran deep. Slavery was an abhorrent practice, and permitting its expansion into new territories was a perilous and inequitable course of action. In the year 1858, he found himself catapulted into the national limelight as he embarked on a Senate campaign against the renowned Stephen A. Douglas, a towering figure in American politics. In a moment of mutual accord, the two embarked on a journey of spirited debates throughout Illinois, leading to an iconic clash that would etch itself into the annals of American history. The Lincoln-Douglas debates. Douglas championed the principle of popular sovereignty, advocating that each state should have the authority to decide for itself whether to permit slavery. Lincoln responded with precision. "A dwelling torn apart from within cannot endure," he proclaimed. If the institution of slavery were to expand further, it would inevitably fracture the Union. He contended that the country could not sustain itself, forever divided between those who are bound and those who are liberated. Though the Senate race slipped through his fingers, he emerged with something far more valuable, the spotlight of the nation. His words echoed through the pages of newspapers nationwide. Whispers filled the air about the tall, lean lawyer from Illinois, his deep-set eyes reflecting a profound sense of purpose and unwavering beliefs, captivating those who had never known of him before. Even in defeat, he had shown his true worth. He faced off against one of the most renowned speakers of the era, unwavering in his resolve. He dared to confront the nation's ease, not for his own benefit, but because his inner voice insisted upon it. In the quiet corners of his mind, Lincoln grappled with the vastness of the challenge before him. He once expressed that if slavery isn't wrong, then nothing can be deemed wrong. Yet he was acutely aware that hasty actions might fracture the delicate bond of the Union. Yet the fate was sealed. The atmosphere of the nation was transforming, and Lincoln was ascending alongside it, not merely as a politician offering simple solutions, but as a beacon of ethical insight amidst a haze of confusion. By 1860, America teetered on the brink of a momentous change. The strains between the factions had escalated to a critical juncture. Slavery had transcended mere moral discussions. It had ignited a political tempest. In a time of great tension, the Southern states loomed with the threat of secession, while the Republican Party sought a leader capable of bringing the North together, all the while navigating the delicate balance to avoid igniting a war. That unexpected character revealed himself to be none other than Abraham Lincoln. At the Republican National Convention in Chicago, he found himself not in the lead. Indeed, many anticipated that the honor would be bestowed upon Senator William Seward of New York, a refined figure with a wealth of political experience spanning decades. Yet Lincoln possessed a quality that set him apart from the rest: a pristine reputation, a balanced demeanor, and a compelling drive stemming from his exchanges with Douglas. His team toiled diligently in the shadows, weaving a narrative that highlighted his rugged beginnings and unwavering integrity. Lincoln emerged as the embodiment of the self-made individual, the rail-splitter who ascended from humble beginnings. His modest origins were not a hindrance. They stood as a beacon of what America could achieve. As the third ballot unfolded, he claimed the coveted nomination, and lo, the realm of politics gasped in astonishment. The general election unfolded like a tumultuous tale, marked by bitterness and deep divisions. Once upon a time, the Democratic Party found itself divided as Northern and Southern factions rallied behind their own chosen candidates, each with their own vision for the future. In many Southern ballots, Lincoln's name was conspicuously absent. Yet in the North and West, he garnered tremendous backing. On the fateful day of November 6, 1860, a remarkable event unfolded as he ascended to the role of the 16th President of the United States, securing his position with a mere 40% of the popular vote, yet a clear and commanding electoral majority. He chose not to celebrate. Indeed, the atmosphere was heavy with despair. In a matter of weeks, the decision was made in South Carolina to break away. Before Lincoln even stepped into the role, 6 additional Southern states made their move. The nation was coming apart at the seams more swiftly than anyone had anticipated Dot as he set forth on his journey from Springfield to the grand city of Washington, D.C. During the time leading up to his inauguration, Lincoln found himself besieged by daily death threats. Whispers echoed through the air, cautioning that the journey might prove too perilous for him to endure. Under the cloak of darkness, he embarked on a clandestine journey, slipping into the capital by train, his identity concealed and his presence unheralded. This was not the grand entrance of a victorious hero. It was the hesitant arrival of a president-elect, whose election had splintered the Union. As Lincoln stood to take the oath of office on March 4, 1861, he confronted a nation torn apart, filled with fury and ready for conflict. And yet, in his address, he sought not the path of vengeance, but the embrace of peace. "We are not foes, but allies," he declared. "Let us not find ourselves as foes." Yet the ominous winds of conflict were already whispering at the threshold. Just a mere month after Abraham Lincoln assumed the presidency, the echoes of cannon fire rang out at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. And so it was. The dawn of the Civil War had arrived. What unfolded was a harrowing chapter in American history, a fierce trial not only of military strength, but also of Lincoln's very essence, his leadership and unwavering determination. Lincoln entered the realm of leadership without the armor of military experience. He held the title of captain during the Black Hawk War, yet his experience was devoid of the clash of battle. In that moment, he stood as the leader of a nation engulfed in its own turmoil. In the dim light of the War Department, he immersed himself in the world of telegrams and maps, weaving together strategies late into the night. He delved into tomes of battle, engaged in probing discussions with his commanders, and fixated on the intricate dance of his forces. He was not born a fighter, yet circumstances forged him into one. In the early days of his presidency, a cloud of frustration loomed large. One general after another let him down. George McClellan, a figure of great intrigue, commanded the unwavering loyalty of his troops. Yet he was also marked by a hesitance that spoke of a man wary of the battlefield. Lincoln, feeling the weight of frustration from the constant delays and justifications, once inquired, "If General McClellan is unwilling to utilize the army, I would be keen to borrow it for a time." Yet, the true brilliance of Lincoln extended far beyond the choices made on the battlefield. It unfolded in a dreamlike panorama. He grasped that this conflict transcended mere issues of states' rights or the act of secession. It was a tale woven into the very fabric of the nation's essence. Can a nation founded on freedom endure while its people remain partially shackled? Initially, Lincoln treaded carefully on the issue of slavery, concerned that a bold stance on abolition might drive the border states into the arms of the Confederacy. Yet, as the conflict stretched on and the toll grew heavier, his perspective began to shift. The ethical dilemma and the military challenge intertwined, becoming one and the same. He came to the realization that slavery served as the driving force behind the economy and spirit of the Confederacy. Had it not been shattered, the spirit of the rebellion would endure forever. On the first day of January, in the year 1863, he proclaimed the Emancipation Proclamation, a bold declaration that set all slaves in territories held by the Confederacy free. It may not have liberated all in an instant, yet it transformed the very fabric of existence. The conflict had transformed into something far greater than merely a struggle to maintain the Union. It was a struggle for the liberation of humanity. On the global stage, it firmly shut the door on any hopes for British or French backing of the Confederacy. Within the confines of the nation, it provided black men with both the moral and legal grounds to enlist in the Union Army, a choice that thousands embraced, battling for a country that had persistently turned its back on their claim to citizenship. Lincoln evolved from the humble log cabin lawyer into a wartime president. commanding not just authority, but a profound moral force. As the conflict stretched into its fourth year, Lincoln shouldered the weight of it all, appearing more gaunt, with strands of gray weaving through his hair and the marks of time etched upon his face. With each passing day, new tales of loss emerged. The towns transformed into silent resting places. Letters poured in from heartbroken mothers and wives, each one filled with anguish and a desperate plea for answers about the loss of their sons and husbands. And though he never stood on a battlefield, Lincoln bore the weight of the war in his gaze and upon his shoulders. His cabinet was a tapestry woven from the threads of political rivalry, a gathering of men who had once stood against him, their respect for him not always assured. Yet Lincoln orchestrated them with the finesse of a master, harmonizing ambition with a sense of purpose. He led with wisdom and grace, never resorting to intimidation or coercion. He governed with a gentle hand, weaving tales and illuminating truths. Even those who doubted him started to recognize the strength hidden behind his charming facade. And then the moment arrived at Gettysburg. In the sweltering heat of July 1863, a pivotal clash unfolded, forever altering the course of history. In just 3 harrowing days, more than 50,000 men met their fate, killed, wounded, or lost to the chaos. Months later, Lincoln journeyed to Pennsylvania to share a brief address at the newly established cemetery. It was never intended to capture the spotlight, merely a handful of thoughts to ponder. Yet, in a mere 272 words, he transformed the very essence of the conflict. In this great land, guided by divine providence, we shall witness a revival of liberty, ensuring that a government created by the people, serving the people, and dedicated to the people will endure through the ages. The Gettysburg Address was not extravagant. It was measured, respectful, and timeless. And it revealed that this conflict transcended mere unity. It was a tale of redemption, a journey to reshape the nation into the embodiment of its long-held ideals. As the presidential election of 1864 approached, Lincoln found himself confronting significant resistance. The battle continued to unfold, and his backing was beginning to falter. Amidst the swirling currents of his own party, whispers grew louder, urging for a new face to take his place on the ticket. At the Republican National Convention in Chicago, he found himself not in the lead. Indeed, many anticipated that the honor would be bestowed upon Senator William Seward of New York, a refined figure with a wealth of political experience spanning decades. Yet Lincoln possessed a quality that set him apart from the rest: a pristine reputation, a balanced demeanor, and a compelling drive stemming from his exchanges with Douglas. His team toiled diligently in the shadows, weaving a narrative that highlighted his rugged beginnings and unwavering integrity. Lincoln emerged as the embodiment of the self-made individual, the rail-splitter who ascended from humble beginnings. His modest origins were not a hindrance. They stood as a beacon of what America could achieve. As the third ballot unfolded, he claimed the coveted nomination, and lo, the realm of politics gasped in astonishment. The general election unfolded like a tumultuous tale, marked by bitterness and deep divisions. Once upon a time, the Democratic Party found itself divided, as Northern and Southern factions rallied behind their own chosen candidates, each with their own vision for the future. In many Southern ballots, Lincoln's name was conspicuously absent. Yet, in the North and West, he garnered tremendous backing. On the fateful day of November 6, 1860, a remarkable event unfolded as he ascended to the role of the 16th President of the United States, securing his position with a mere 40% of the popular vote, yet a clear and commanding electoral majority. He chose not to celebrate. Indeed, the atmosphere was heavy with despair. Not in a matter of weeks, the decision was made in South Carolina to break away. Before Lincoln even stepped into the role, 6 additional southern states made their move. The nation was coming apart at the seams more swiftly than anyone had anticipated. As he set forth on his journey from Springfield to the grand city of Washington, D.C., during the time leading up to his inauguration, Lincoln found himself besieged by daily death threats. Whispers echoed through the air, cautioning that the journey might prove too perilous for him to endure. Under the cloak of darkness, he embarked on a clandestine journey, slipping into the capital by train, his identity concealed and his presence unheralded. This was not the grand entrance of a victorious hero. It was the hesitant arrival of a president-elect, whose election had splintered the Union. As Lincoln stood to take the oath of office on March 4, 1861, he confronted a nation torn apart, filled with fury, and ready for conflict. And yet, in his address, he sought not the path of vengeance, but the embrace of peace. "We are not foes, but allies," he declared. "Let us not find ourselves as foes." Yet, the ominous winds of conflict were already whispering at the threshold. Just a mere month after Abraham Lincoln assumed the presidency, the echoes of cannon fire rang out at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. And so it was. The dawn of the Civil War had arrived. What unfolded was a harrowing chapter in American history, a fierce trial not only of military strength, but also of Lincoln's very essence, his leadership and unwavering determination. Lincoln entered the realm of leadership without the armor of military experience. He held the title of captain during the Black Hawk War, yet his experience was devoid of the clash of battle. In that moment, he stood as the leader of a nation engulfed in its own turmoil. In the dim light of the War Department, he immersed himself in the world of telegrams and maps, weaving together strategies late into the night. He delved into tomes of battle, engaged in probing discussions with his commanders, and fixated on the intricate dance of his forces. He was not born a fighter, yet circumstances forged him into one. In the early days of his presidency, a cloud of frustration loomed large. One general after another let him down. George McClellan, a figure of great intrigue, commanded the unwavering loyalty of his troops. Yet he was also marked by a hesitance that spoke of a man wary of the battlefield. Lincoln, feeling the weight of frustration from the constant delays and justifications, once inquired, "If General McClellan is unwilling to utilize the army, I would be keen to borrow it for a time." Yet, the true brilliance of Lincoln extended far beyond the choices made on the battlefield. It unfolded in a dreamlike panorama. He grasped that this conflict transcended mere issues of states' rights or the act of secession. It was a tale woven into the very fabric of the nation's essence. Can a nation founded on freedom endure while its people remain partially shackled? Initially, Lincoln treaded carefully on the issue of slavery, concerned that a bold stance on abolition might drive the border states into the arms of the Confederacy. Yet, as the conflict stretched on and the toll grew heavier, his perspective began to shift. The ethical dilemma and the military challenge intertwined, becoming one and the same. He came to the realization that slavery served as the driving force behind the economy and spirit of the Confederacy. Had it not been shattered, the spirit of the rebellion would endure forever. On the first day of January in the year 1863, he proclaimed the Emancipation Proclamation, a bold declaration that set all slaves in territories held by the Confederacy free. It may not have liberated all in an instant, yet it transformed the very fabric of existence. The conflict had transformed into something far greater than merely a struggle to maintain the Union. It was a struggle for the liberation of humanity. On the global stage, it firmly shut the door on any hopes for British or French backing of the Confederacy. Within the confines of the nation, it provided black men with both the moral and legal grounds to enlist in the Union Army, a choice that thousands embraced, battling for a country that had persistently turned its back on their Claim to citizenship. Lincoln evolved from the humble log cabin lawyer into a wartime president, commanding not just authority, but a profound moral force. As the conflict stretched into its fourth year, Lincoln shouldered the weight of it all, appearing more gaunt, with strands of gray weaving through his hair and the marks of time etched upon his face. With each passing day, new tales of loss emerged. The towns transformed into silent resting places. Letters poured in from heartbroken mothers and wives, each one filled with anguish and a desperate plea for answers about the loss of their sons and husbands. And though he never stood on a battlefield, Lincoln bore the weight of the war in his gaze and upon his shoulders. His cabinet was a tapestry woven from the threads of political rivalry, a gathering of men who had once stood against him, their respect for him not always assured. Yet Lincoln orchestrated them with the finesse of a master, harmonizing ambition with a sense of purpose. He led with wisdom and grace, never resorting to intimidation or coercion. He governed with a gentle hand, weaving tales and illuminating truths. Even those who doubted him started to recognize the strength hidden behind his charming facade. And then the moment arrived at Gettysburg. In the sweltering heat of July 1863, a pivotal clash unfolded, forever altering the course of history. In just 3 harrowing days, more than 50,000 men met their fate, killed, wounded, or lost to the chaos. Months later, Lincoln journeyed to Pennsylvania to share a brief address at the newly established cemetery. It was never intended to capture the spotlight, merely a handful of thoughts to ponder. Yet, in a mere 272 words, he transformed the very essence of the conflict. In this great land, guided by divine providence, we shall witness a revival of liberty, ensuring that a government created by the people, serving the people, and dedicated to the people will endure through the ages. The Gettysburg Address was not extravagant. It was measured, respectful, and timeless. And it revealed that this conflict transcended mere unity. It was a tale of redemption, a journey to reshape the nation into the embodiment of its long-held ideals. As the presidential election of 1864 approached, Lincoln found himself confronting significant resistance. The battle continued to unfold, and his backing was beginning to falter. Amidst the swirling currents of his own party, whispers grew louder, urging for a new face to take his place on the ticket. The Indus system masterfully distinguished between stormwater and waste. Along the streets, public wells stood as silent sentinels, their presence hinting at a commitment to health that was uncommon in those days. Though the specifics of water safety remained shrouded in mystery, the existence of such sanitation infrastructure speaks volumes about the value placed on the well-being of the community. Yet, what captivates the imagination most is the absence of grand palaces or majestic temples in these cities. The Indus people seem to prioritize equality and the functionality of their urban spaces over grand divine monuments, as evidenced by their sophisticated toilet systems, accessible to all, far-reaching, and unexpectedly inclusive. Alas, the tales of the Indus civilization are shrouded in enigma. Their writing system remains a mystery, and the reasons behind the eventual decline of their cities elude us. Yet the toilets, those quiet brick conduits hidden below, continue to tell tales that resonate deeply. In a time when numerous empires dazzled with grand displays, the Indus opted for a more subdued, refined, and perhaps more cultured approach. In the grand tapestry of history, the Indus Valley civilization wove intricate underground sewers, while the ancient Egyptians crafted their own narrative around sanitation, rich with ritual, status, and a profound reverence for both physical and spiritual purity. For them, cleanliness transcended mere avoidance of disease. It was a sacred act, a devotion woven into the fabric of their lives. In the flourishing realm of ancient Egypt, nourished by the life-giving Nile, the act of bathing emerged as a vital ritual, particularly among the affluent in the grand abodes of the privileged. One could often find quaint limestone basins or bathing chambers where devoted servants would gently pour water for the purpose of cleansing. In the ancient world, oils flowed like rivers, natron sparkled as a natural salt, and perfumed ointments wafted through the air, creating an aromatic tapestry. Hair removal was not just a task. It was a ritual woven into the fabric of daily life. Yet, when the subject of toilets arose, the narrative took a turn towards the more down to earth in the land of ancient Egypt. The humble toilet took on various forms, from basic pits embraced by the soft touch of sand to more sophisticated creations, where limestone or wooden seats gracefully perched above ceramic pots, each telling a tale of its time. These pots were cleared by those in service and cast away from the homes, preferably into the vast expanse of the desert. In more affluent households, these seats could be found nestled in secluded areas, subtly suggesting the increasing link between cleanliness and social standing. Alas, the realm of public sanitation was nearly a forgotten tale. In the bustling streets of ancient cities like Thebes and Memphis, one could often encounter the remnants of daily life scattered about. While in the serene countryside, waste found its purpose as fertilizer, the urban centers struggled with the challenge of managing such refuse responsibly. The emphasis shifted towards the importance of personal hygiene. In ancient times, the priests adhered to a strict regimen, bathing several times each day, meticulously shaving their bodies, and steering clear of any impurities that might compromise their sacred duties. They were unable to step into the sacred temples without first undergoing a ritual washing, a process that occasionally involved enemas, not for the sake of health, but as a means of spiritual readiness. In a fascinating twist of history, the tombs of pharaohs and nobles sometimes held toilet stools among their cherished grave goods. It appears that the ancient Egyptians believed that even in the realm beyond, one would still require the means to attend to their needs, and to do so with a sense of honor. In ancient times, the Egyptians embarked on their own journey of pest control, crafting early methods to combat unwanted intruders. In a world where amulets, spells, and ointments danced together in harmony, they served as guardians against the young. Relentless swarm of flies and the unseen carriers of disease. In this manner, purity danced between the tangible and the ethereal. In essence, although Egypt did not establish extensive sewer systems, it was a trailblazer in fostering a cultural focus on hygiene. Their fervent pursuit of purity wove itself into the very fabric of medicine, religion, and the rhythms of everyday life. And while their toilets might have been basic, their concepts of cleanliness were far from ordinary. In a time when many in Bronze Age Europe were confined to rudimentary pits, the Minoans of Crete were embracing a more advanced way of life, complete with flushing systems. Indeed, it dates back over 3,500 years, a fascinating glimpse into the past. In the vibrant era of the Minoan civilization, spanning from around 2000 to 1400 BCE, a remarkable feat of engineering emerged, one of the most advanced plumbing systems known to the ancient world. Their capital at Knossos was a realm where labyrinthine tailies and vibrant frescoes came to life. It featured towering structures, complete with flowing water and functional restrooms. The Minoans grasped concepts that eluded countless civilizations for ages, the forces of gravity and the dynamics of water pressure. In the grand design of their palaces, terracotta pipes wove a hidden network beneath the floors and within the walls, guiding the precious rainwater and spring water to flow into elegant fountains, soothing baths, and, intriguingly, the essential latrines. In the grand megaron of the Queen at Knossos, a remarkable find emerged from the depths of history. What could very well be the oldest flush toilet known to humankind. Picture a wooden seat perched above a stone basin. ingeniously linked to a vertical pipe, ready to be refreshed with water poured from a vessel, a testament to the ingenuity of ancient civilization. Bathing held a place of great importance. In the ancient world, the Minoans crafted impressive ceramic bathtubs, reminiscent of the ones we see in contemporary households. Imagine a world where water flows gracefully from rooftop tanks or meanders through aqueducts, only to be gently guided away through hidden underground channels. Once upon a time, the ingenious design of U-shaped water traps emerged, crafted to thwart unwelcome odors. This clever invention, a precursor to what we now know as the modern plumbing trap, has sparked discussions and debates among those who ponder its efficacy. What stands out is how these systems have woven themselves into the fabric of elite homes, hinting that comfort and cleanliness were not just amenities, but symbols of status. In contrast to the later Roman latrines that welcomed the public in a communal setting, the Minoan approach to sanitation embraced a more private nature. In the comfort of your own abode, you possessed a toilet of privilege that eluded even numerous 19th century Europeans. The Minoans embodied a blend of practicality and elegance in their approach. In those bathrooms, vibrant frescoes danced across the walls, accompanied by the grace of exquisite plasterwork. It appears that sanitation can embody both practicality and style. Regrettably, the decline of the Minoan civilization around 1450 BCE, perhaps brought on by volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, or invasions, resulted in the disappearance of these remarkable innovations. It would be more than a millennium before comparable toilet technology would rise again in other regions of the Mediterranean. Yet, the remnants of Gnosis murmur a profound reality. The yearning for cleanliness, the urge to rid oneself of waste, and the longing for a private bathing experience have roots that stretch far back in time. It carries the weight of ages, reflecting our shared humanity, and in the realm of the Minoans, it reveals a remarkable sophistication in the realm of Vav. Ancient sanitation. Few civilizations crafted a narrative as grand and audacious as that of the Romans. At the pinnacle of the Roman Empire, they had truly perfected the craft of infrastructure, weaving together aqueducts, roads, and indeed, toilets into the very fabric of their civilization. For the Romans, sanitation transcended mere cleanliness. It embodied the very essence of civilization. And that signified transforming toilets into communal spaces, streamlined in function, and unexpectedly, a hub for social interaction. Step into the heart of any grand Roman city, be it Pompeii or Londinium, and you would encounter public latrines' expansive chambers featuring long stone benches, each meticulously carved with evenly spaced openings. With no stalls and no dividers, the seating is a close-knit arrangement, where everyone is shoulder to shoulder. Underneath the benches flowed a constant stream of water, designed to whisk away waste, while a secondary channel cradled sponge sticks. Known as tessoria, the ingenious Roman solution to the need for cleanliness. In a shared ritual, these sponges were cleansed in a mixture of water and vinegar, ready to embark on their next journey of use. Clean and pure? Not exactly operational? Indeed, for the Romans, the act of using the toilet transcended mere necessity. It transformed into a vibrant social gathering. In the midst of lively conversations, whispers of intrigue, and the bustling exchange of commerce, the natural rhythms of life continued unabated. In the realm of latrines, one could find a tapestry of mosaics and inscriptions, some tickling the funny bone, while others danced on the edge of the crude. Within the ancient latrines of Pompeii, one can find graffiti that echoes the frustrations of its users' grievances about foul odors, inadequate plumbing, and the antics of inconsiderate patrons. Yet the realm of Roman sanitation reached far beyond mere toilets. In their bustling cities, a labyrinth of cloaca wove through the streets. With the illustrious Cloaca Maxima in Rome standing as the most renowned of these grand sewer systems. Originally crafted to reclaim the marshlands, it evolved into the very foundation of Rome's waste management system. Through it flowed rainwater, urine, and feces, nourished by aqueducts that carried fresh water from distant lands. In the cozy confines of their private abodes, affluent Romans enjoyed the luxury of indoor latrines, which gracefully emptied into cesspits or flowed directly into the intricate network of sewers. The less fortunate depended on chamber pots, which were occasionally hurled from windows into the streets, even though laws prohibited such actions. Those residing in apartments, particularly within insulae and multi-story tenements, faced the greatest hardships. In those times, numerous structures stood devoid of plumbing, and the lower levels frequently found themselves inundated with sewage. In a curious twist of history, the Romans imposed a tax on urine. In a bold and rather notorious move, Emperor Vespasian introduced a tax on public urinals, a decision that has etched his name into the annals of history, forever linking him to the very essence of these facilities in France and Italy, even to this day. In essence, Roman toilets were not merely sophisticated. In a vibrant cacophony, they thrived in assembly of voices and ideas, bustling with energy and a touch of the avant-garde, embarking on what could be seen as a pioneering venture into the realm of shared cleanliness. In a time when the Romans reveled in the communal nature of their public latrines, akin to a festive gathering, the ancient Greeks chose a path of discretion and decorum. For them, the workings of the body were intimate matters, best managed in silence, with a sense of privacy, and ideally in solitude. Nonetheless, their impact on sanitation and cleanliness was profound, albeit conveyed in a uniquely different manner. In many Greek households, the lavatory was quite basic, often consisting of a clay pot or a stone seat positioned above cesspit. In those times, the homes were devoid of flushing systems, and the ordinary residences lacked any sewer connections. The refuse was typically gathered and emptied by hand, frequently by those in servitude, into deep pits or discarded in distant locales. In the bustling heart of the city, the urban streets bore witness to the passage of time, where open drains once flowed freely. Yet, as the metropolis expanded, an unwelcome companion emerged, the unmistakable stench that lingered in the air. Sanitation posed challenges, yet it often took a back seat in the grand narrative. Yet the Greeks held a profound fascination for the art of bathing. In the ancient world, gymnasia served as vibrant spaces where men engaged in physical pursuits in the nude, often intertwined with expansive public bathhouses that offered a communal experience of both fitness and relaxation. These served a purpose beyond merely wiping away sweat. In the heart of the community, these vibrant hubs served as gathering places where individuals connected, engaged in spirited discussions on philosophy, and honed their skills for active participation in civic life. In contrast to the opulence of Roman baths adorned with marble, the Greek baths embraced simplicity, featuring often circular tubs, cold water basins, or shallow pools that spoke to a more understated elegance. The art of bathing in this culture hinged on the delicate balance of water management. In ancient times, the Greeks ingeniously crafted aqueducts, cisterns, and terracotta pipe systems, weaving a network that brought fresh water to vibrant cities such as Athens. Once upon a time, in the bustling heart of ancient Athens, there existed a remarkable place known as the Agora. Here, amidst the vibrant exchanges of commerce and ideas, one could find one of the earliest public latrines, a marvel of its time, featuring sturdy stone seats and an ingenious drainage system that spoke to the ingenuity of its creators. Yet, these instances were few and far between. In Greek society, the public toilet never quite found its place, unlike in the grand tapestry of Rome, where it was woven seamlessly into daily life. While the Greeks may not have excelled in plumbing, their prowess in theory was unparalleled. In the annals of history, Hippocrates emerges as a pivotal figure, often hailed as the father of medicine. He was one of the earliest to draw a connection between sanitation and health, illuminating the path for future generations. He proposed that tainted water and grime might carry illness, a revolutionary notion for that era. His insights on the importance of clean air, fresh water, and dry housing would go on to shape the very foundations of Roman city planning. The contrast is striking. The great civilization that birthed democracy and drama often chose to conduct its most unsavory dealings behind closed doors. For the Greeks, sanitation transcended mere infrastructure, that it revolved around the essence of personal discipline and the purity of thought, where a clean body nurtures a clear mind. Though their latrines might have been rudimentary, their fervent dedication to purity, both physical and moral, played a crucial role in shaping the early concepts of public health. In the ancient realms of China, the pursuit of cleanliness was not merely a personal obligation. It echoed the harmonious dance of the cosmos itself, in the tapestry of daily life. Sanitation, though not as grand as the systems of Rome or the Indus Valley, was intricately interlaced with customs and philosophies, accompanied by an unexpectedly diverse array of toilet tools. In the times of old, the dwellings of ancient China were not graced with toilets, as we know them today. In those times, chamber pots held a place of commonality. These portable ceramic or bronze vessels took on a myriad of forms, ranging from the practical to the lavish, reflecting the status of their owners. Once the pots had served their purpose, it was the duty of the servants or family members to dispose of their contents, either by pouring them into larger cesspits within the household or by carrying them beyond the city walls. In the heart of rural life, families embraced the age-old practice of using human waste, referred to as night soil, as a vital source of nourishment for their crops, a tradition that has endured through the ages. In the bustling streets of larger cities such as Chang'an or Luoyang, one could indeed find the presence of public toilets. In those times, the communal facilities took the form of simple pits or troughs, accompanied by wooden platforms where people could sit or squat comfortably. Fascinatingly, a number of these toilets featured privacy screens, a thoughtful touch rarely encountered in the days of ancient Rome. From these places, waste was often gathered and repurposed in the realm of agriculture. This practice, though resourceful, came with its own set of dangers, including the potential for contamination and the spread of disease. In the annals of history, one might find that the humble beginnings of toilet paper, or something remarkably akin to it, trace back to the ancient lands of China. In the distant echoes of the 2nd century BCE, a fascinating practice emerged among the people. They began to utilize soft papers, often those writings that had lost their purpose, for the sake of hygiene. In the 6th century CE, the chronicles of learned individuals reveal the intriguing practice of utilizing paper for the purpose of cleansing after one's natural calls. The refined favored remnants of silk or bamboo spatulas, carefully cleansed after each use. Indeed, what you see is accurate. In the annals of history, polished bamboo sticks emerged as some of the first tools crafted for the art of reuse in the realm of wiping. The essence of cleanliness transcended the mere physical realm. It delved deep into the spiritual, drawing from the wisdom of Confucian ideals that emphasize order and respect, alongside the Taoist principles of harmony and purity. The concept of hygiene became intertwined with the virtues of self-discipline and balance. Though a natural occurrence, excrement was regarded as a pollutant, something to be quickly disposed of and never mentioned in refined circles. In the grand tapestry of imperial life, certain households wove a narrative of secrecy and control, entrusting the delicate task of waste disposal to specially appointed eunuchs, who operated in the shadows, ensuring that all remained hidden from prying eyes. In the heart of ancient China, where the absence of underground sewers posed a challenge, The cities thrived in cleanliness. This was no mere coincidence. It was the result of dedicated human effort, deeply ingrained cultural beliefs, and a thoughtfully structured waste collection system that kept the urban centers pristine. It may not have sparkled, but it certainly did the trick. In the realm of sanitation, the Chinese embarked on a journey marked by chamber pots, composting, and paper wipes. Their approach was one of humility and efficiency, intricately woven into the fabric of tradition. In the realm of ancient sanitation, the Vikings may not be the initial group that springs to mind. Often recognized for their fierce raids, the Norse people possessed a hygiene routine that was, in fact, more sophisticated and surprisingly disciplined than the common stereotypes imply. Amidst the tales of horned helmets and legendary warriors, there exists a culture that, despite its rugged exterior, placed a remarkable emphasis on personal cleanliness and waste management, surpassing many of its medieval European counterparts. In the ancient Viking settlements, particularly in the bustling realms of Jorvik, now known as York in England, and the historic Hidibi in present-day Germany, archaeologists have unearthed latrine pits crafted from timber or stone. These rudimentary, yet practical toilets serve the needs of both individuals and families alike. In the shadow of homes, these pits were carefully excavated, their entrances sometimes cloaked by wooden structures, offering both privacy and a refuge from the biting northern winds. The remnants from these latrines, a blend of human waste, food remnants, and animal remains, reveal stories beyond the mere diet of the Vikings. It reveals that they possessed a system for centralized waste disposal. At times, these pits found new life as they were cleaned out and put to use once more. In some cases, fresh pits were merely excavated once the previous ones reached capacity. There are whispers of ancient practices where waste would gracefully return to the earth, decomposing over time and enriching the soil anew. Within the walls of homes, chamber pots and buckets found their place, particularly during the harsh, frigid winters when venturing outside was far from appealing. Often, these would find their way into latrine pits or dung heaps, nestled on the fringes of a settlement. Though lacking in elegance, it served a practical purpose and was certainly more hygienic than the prevalent custom of discarding waste onto the streets, a routine seen in various medieval towns. Yet hygiene transcended mere functionality. It wove itself into the very fabric of culture. In the days of the Vikings, a ritual of cleanliness unfolded with regularity as they embraced the practice of bathing, typically once a week. This sacred day, known as Lagdaga or Washing Day, gave rise to the English word Saturday, weaving a thread of history through time. In the rich tapestry of Norse archaeological discoveries, one often uncovers combs, ear cleaners, and tweezers crafted from bone or antler, each telling a tale of daily life and craftsmanship in ancient times. Personal grooming held significance, transcending mere appearance to influence social standing and the prospects of marriage. Though the sanitation practices of the Vikings may not have showcased the grand engineering marvels of Rome or the ceremonial cleanliness of Egypt, they were firmly grounded in practicality. Though they lacked sewers and toilet paper, they found ways to manage waste, maintain cleanliness, and thrive in a challenging environment with practical, grounded solutions. In a realm where frost and steel reigned supreme, even the most mundane tasks were approached with a straightforwardness befitting a folk unburdened by frivolities. Throughout the ages and across diverse cultures, a singular truth endures. Every community must embark on a journey to understand the fate of its refuse, for it is essential to their survival and prosperity. From the shadowy depths of the Indus Valley's sewers to the bustling communal latrines of Rome and the humble chamber pots of ancient China, the tale of humanity's connection with sanitation unfolds, revealing a delicate balance between essential need and overlooked care. It's fascinating to observe the varied ways in which different cultures have placed importance on cleanliness. In ancient times, certain civilizations, such as the Romans and Minoans, poured their resources into the development of impressive infrastructure. In their ingenuity, they crafted aqueducts, flush systems, and sewage networks that, in certain instances, matched the remarkable functionality of cities from the 19th century. In various cultures, such as those of the Greeks and Chinese, the concept of cleanliness transcended mere hygiene, intertwining with ideals of personal virtue, health, ethics, and a deep connection to the natural world. Others, such as the Vikings, embraced a raw and pragmatic way of life. Excavate a hollow, cleanse whenever possible, and ensure that grime does not linger close to your sustenance. In the tapestry of human endeavor, these diverse societies, each, with its unique threads, wove together a common narrative, united in their quest to liberate individuals from the burdens of their refuse. The motivations were diverse: to ward off illness, to pay tribute to the deities, and to maintain societal harmony. Yet, the result influenced the very fabric of urban development, the creation of legislation, and the perception individuals held of their own physical forms. In a twist of fate, a significant portion of this ancient wisdom slipped away during the Middle Ages in Europe. In the wake of Rome's decline, the intricate networks of sanitation that once thrived began to fade away. Public toilets vanished from the landscape, sewers fell into disrepair, and the specter of disease loomed larger than ever. Centuries would pass, and through the trials of numerous plagues, urban planners would finally turn their gaze back to the wisdom that the ancients had already so expertly woven into the fabric of their designs. And yet, echoes of ancient sanitation linger in our world today. In the annals of language, we find that the term latrine has its roots in the ancient Latin word latrina. The contemporary flush toilet traces its lineage back to the ingenious gravity systems of the Minoans, long before our modern conveniences. The Chinese hinted at the use of paper in the bathroom, weaving a tale that stretches back over 1,000 years. What seems contemporary is often merely a revival of the past. Sanitation, frequently brushed aside in tales of the past, serves as a silent yet sturdy pillar of civilization. It fails to evoke verses or grand tributes. Yet, in its absence, cities crumble, communities endure hardship, and even the mightiest of empires may meet their demise. As you step into a restroom, relishing the comfort of privacy, the convenience of plumbing, and perhaps the delightful aroma of scented soap, take a moment to reflect on the countless generations before you. They toiled, stumbled, and occasionally triumphed in their quest to maintain cleanliness and fend off the grime. And that, perhaps, stands as one of the most overlooked triumphs of civilization. In a time long before the advent of satellites, compasses, or the written word, there existed within humans an innate drive to chart the world around them, not merely to document the locations of things, but to unravel their significance within a sprawling and frequently daunting universe. A map was more than mere imagery of the land. It unfolded as a narrative, a framework of conviction, a guide for enduring life's challenges. It revealed the paths of the rivers, the place where the sun greeted the day, the realms of the spirits, and the lurking dangers that lay just outside the familiar. In the beginning, maps were not crafted on parchment or paper. They were carved into stone, inscribed on bone, or passed down through the whispers of memory. In the distant echoes of the Upper Paleolithic period, more than 14,000 years ago, ancient carvings reveal a world of animals, winding riverbanks, and gatherings of huts, each telling a tale of life long past. Could they be considered maps as we understand them today? Not exactly. Yet they seized the essence of space, intertwining it with movement and significance, marking a crucial beginning. In the dawn of civilization, as communities began to flourish and trade routes stretched across the land, the creation of maps transformed into a vital instrument of influence. They led merchants on journeys across rugged mountains and vast deserts. They guided rulers in defining territories and collecting dues from their people. They ventured to unravel the mysteries of the cosmos, weaving together the threads of astronomy and theology in a grand tapestry of understanding. To chart the heavens was to reach for the sacred. To sketch a city was to weave a tapestry of structure amidst the tumult. Yet, the art of mapping has not always been rooted in precision. Indeed, ancient maps were frequently shaped by the imagination, presenting a world that was often far removed from the reality we know today. What truly held significance was the essence, not the quantification. Home has always been the heart of the world, be it in the ancient streets of Babylon, the sacred grounds of Jerusalem, or the storied shores of Delos. The expanse of lands ebbed and flowed, shaped by their significance in the grand tapestry of existence. Uncharted territories brimmed with wondrous creatures, marked only by the ominous phrase, "Here be dragons." In certain cultures, the concept of flat maps was entirely absent from their practices. Polynesian navigators, for example, created stick charts that captured the essence of ocean currents and island swells, designed not for mere observation, but for tactile understanding and mental mapping. These were not designed for the eyes of the modern traveler, but rather to be experienced and internalized through the sacred practice of ritual training, the urge to chart, to bring forth the dimensions of space, time, and place is an intrinsic part of our humanity. In every stroke of clay, every splash of color on walls, and every note sung in chants, maps served as a bridge for ancient people, linking them to their surroundings, their deities, and one another. Though their approaches danced in a myriad of ways, the essence of their quest remained unchanged, to carve out their existence in a world both enigmatic and ever-changing dot in the heart of civilization. Surrounded by the majestic temples and towering ziggurats of ancient Mesopotamia, the Babylonians embarked on the remarkable journey of etching the first known maps into clay. These were not merely functional instruments for land ownership or urban design. They were profound artifacts, efforts to bring harmony to a tumultuous universe by inscribing it in cuneiform lines and symbols. Among the notable treasures of history is the Imago Mundi, a clay tablet from the 6th century BCE, currently residing in the British Museum. It is frequently regarded as the most ancient world map known to us. Measuring a mere 6 inches across, it serves as a delicate portal into the vast expanse of the Babylonian cosmos. At the heart of it all lies Babylon, depicted as a grand rectangle encircled by a circular expanse that embodies the known world. In the heart of the land, the Euphrates River flows, its waters weaving through a tapestry of cities, mountains, and regions, each marked with the ancient script of cuneiform. Beyond the realm lies a river steeped in bitterness, perhaps the ocean itself, leading to enigmatic triangular islands, each shrouded in myth and legend. These were but figments of imagination. In those realms lay the very essence of turmoil and wine, peril, the fringes of understanding, where the familiar faded into the unknown. For the Babylonians, the act of mapping transcended mere geography. It was a profound journey into the spiritual realm. The celestial realms were charted with the same meticulousness as the terrestrial lands. In the ancient realm of Babylon, the keen-eyed astronomers observed the dance of the planets, the rhythm of the moon, and the rare spectacle of eclipses with remarkable accuracy. Their findings were meticulously etched onto clay tablets, each stroke of the reed stylus telling a tale of the cosmos. These celestial records held more than mere scientific value. They served as a means to foresee omens and unveil the mysteries of the future. The celestial chart served as a compass for destiny. In the realm of the everyday, land surveys emerged as a familiar and useful practice. In the ancient world, as far back as 2300 BCE, clay tablets came alive with intricate tales of farmland. They captured the essence of boundaries, the winding paths of irrigation canals, and the stories of ownership that shaped the land. These were the instruments wielded by those in power: bureaucrats, tax collectors, and priests, each playing their part in the grand tapestry of society. Here, precision held great significance, not for the sake of navigation, but for the careful stewardship of wealth and resources. Babylonian maps unveil a civilization deeply captivated by order, extending beyond the tangible to the very essence of existence. They charted the realm as they perceived it, placing themselves at the heart, encircled by flowing waters, adversaries, deities, and enigmas. These maps served not merely as records. They embodied beliefs, wielded power, and reflected a yearning to illuminate the mysteries of the unknown. As the Babylonians wove tales of mythic rings and cosmic rivers, the ancient Egyptians focused their gaze on the very earth beneath their feet, embracing the tangible reality of their land. In the floodplains of the Nile, mapping came alive with vivid detail. It was a tale woven with threads of power, endurance, and the intricate patterns of a realm that spanned from arid heights to lush wetlands. The Egyptians crafted their own unique representations of the world, distinct from the Babylonian approach to mapping. Rather, their mapping was profoundly utilitarian. With each passing year, the mighty Nile would swell, sweeping away the markers of boundaries and the divisions of farmland, as if rewriting the landscape itself. In a quest to bring back harmony, the Harperdinapt, skilled surveyors, wielded ropes, measuring rods, and sighting tools to meticulously redraw the grid. This was not merely a fleeting tradition. It was a cherished annual event that beckoned. With the promise of renewal, the art of mapping transformed into a vital state function, meticulously overseen by the learned scribes of the temple and the esteemed officials of the royal court. Ancient papyri reveal maps crafted with astonishing accuracy. Among the ancient treasures, the Turin papyrus map stands out, tracing its origins back to approximately 1160 BCE. It's not adorned with embellishments or steeped in legend. It's a practical mining map, a straightforward depiction of wadis, hills, and gold-rich areas in the eastern desert. Winding streams, meandering roads, ancient quarry sites, and delicate annotations in hieratic script reveal the distances traveled and the treasures of the earth. This was a practical map intended for officials and labor crews, not a decorative piece for a palace wall. Yet, the maps of ancient Egypt were not completely lacking in layers of meaning. In ancient times, temples rose majestically, their structures carefully aligned with the dance of celestial events, while cities were crafted with a profound understanding of the cosmos, each street and building echoing the harmony of the universe. The map transcended mere utility. It embodied the essence of Ma'at, the ancient Egyptian principle of balance and harmony. The division of land and the art of urban planning were guided by revered principles. Even the grand pyramids and sacred tombs were crafted with a meticulous alignment to the stars and the rhythms of mathematics. Within the pages of sacred writings, one can uncover intricate depictions of the underworld, as seen in the Book of the Dead and the Amduat. In the depths of the night, these spiritual maps unfold the tale of the soul's odyssey, traversing 12 hours of darkness, watched over by serpents, deities, and formidable gates. Though not navigational, they embodied the essence of cartography, leading the departed across the landscape of forever. In the realm of ancient Egypt, the art of mapping emerged as a fascinating tapestry woven from the threads of governance and spirituality. In the grand tapestry of existence, from the careful delineation of a farmer's land to the ethereal mapping of the afterlife, maps served as sacred tools, weaving a narrative of celestial harmony. It wasn't merely a quest for direction on this earthly plane. It was a profound journey to harmonize with the divine forces that govern existence. While the Greeks may not have been the creators of maps, they transformed the very essence of how we perceive and understand them. In a remarkable moment that echoes through the annals of time, space transcended mere description. It was meticulously measured, thoughtfully calculated, and profoundly reasoned. Geography evolved from a vital need into a captivating exploration of ideas, setting the stage for the art of modern map-making. Once upon a time, in the ancient city of Miletus, there lived a thinker named Anaximander. In the 6th century BCE, he embarked on a remarkable journey of the mind, crafting one of the earliest conceptual maps of the world. Though the original has vanished into the mists of time, accounts paint a vivid picture of a circular disk, adorned with land masses reminiscent of Europe and Asia, all gracefully encircling a central Mediterranean. It held deep meaning, indeed, yet it also signified a departure from legendary narratives. Anaximander sought to weave a tapestry of the physical world, crafting it into a form that resonated with reason. Then arrived Hecataeus, a figure who polished these nascent concepts and broadened their horizons through journeys and exploration. Alongside his map lay a geographical narrative known as periegesis, weaving tales of lands, customs, and the diverse peoples who inhabit them. Yet it was Claudius Ptolemy, many centuries down the line, who would transform the entire landscape. In the 2nd century CE, Ptolemy crafted a remarkable work known as Geographia, a true testament to the brilliance of Greek science. Within its pages lay intricate guidance for crafting maps, an extensive compilation of more than 8,000 place names paired with their coordinates, and a meticulously designed grid of latitude and longitude, all conceived long before the notion of GPS had even taken root. He unveiled projections that capture the essence of our curved planet on a flat canvas, a concept that continues to puzzle and inspire today's mapmakers. Greek maps served not only as practical instruments, but also as reflections of the Greek perspective on the world around them. In a world teeming with vast oceans and untamed territories, the Greeks boldly positioned themselves as the intellectual heart of the inhabited realm. As one ventures farther from Greece, the landscape becomes increasingly warped and mirror of both scant understanding and the shades of cultural perspective. In a fascinating twist of thought, the ancient Greek philosophers engaged deeply with the concept of a spherical Earth. In the bustling city of Alexandria, during the 3rd century BCE, a brilliant mind named Eratosthenes embarked on a remarkable quest. With nothing but shadows, geometry, and a simple stick, he set out to unveil the secrets of the Earth's circumference. His precision was truly impressive, missing the mark by merely a few hundred miles. Greek cartography transcended mere line drawing. It was a journey into unraveling the mysteries of the Earth's form, dimensions, and its position amidst the stars. Through the lens of mathematics, the clarity of logic, and the fire of ambition, the Greeks transformed maps from mere legend into a disciplined science, forever altering the way we perceive the world. While the Greeks unveiled the principles of mapping, it was the Romans who transformed those ideas into a powerful tool for military strategy and logistics. Imagine a grand tapestry where the threads of the Roman Empire are woven not merely by laws and legions, but by an intricate and carefully crafted network of roads that bind it all together. In their quest for efficiency, the Romans crafted remarkable maps that served as both practical tools and powerful symbols of their expansive empire in the ancient world. In contrast to the Greek maps that sought to capture the contours of the earth or delve into the celestial realms, Roman maps were rooted in the journey itself. They served as instruments of influence, growth, revenue, and provision. At the heart of the tale was the saying, "All roads lead to Rome." For the Romans, this was not merely a metaphor. It was a philosophy of mapping the world around them. Once upon a time, in the annals of history, there existed a remarkable Roman map known as the Tabula Peutingeriana. This treasure, a 4th century CE rendition, was a faithful reflection of a much older Roman road map, guiding travelers through the vast expanse of the empire. While it may not align with contemporary geographical precision, with land masses elongated and warped, it fulfills its role splendidly, illustrating the pathways, halts, distances, and links that span the empire from Britain to India. Envision a contemporary subway map where the precision of geography gives way to the clarity of travel paths. That encapsulates Roman mapping perfectly. Way stations or mansions stood like beacons along the journey, each one marked at regular intervals, accompanied by the distances measured in Ramang miles. These maps served as vital tools for military commanders, merchants, and messengers, guiding them on their journeys across vast distances with remarkable efficiency. They were well acquainted with the spots to swap horses, the perfect places to pause, and the time it would take to arrive at the next city. The empire unfolded its pathways, not only across the land, but also upon the written page. Alongside their road maps, the Romans crafted cadastral maps, meticulously detailed chronicles of land ownership and boundaries, serving as essential tools for taxation and resolving legal disputes. Some were sculpted in bronze and displayed in public spaces, allowing the townsfolk to clearly discern the ownership of each piece. The mastery of land equated to the mastery of power, a truth the Romans grasped with unyielding precision. Curiously, the Romans seemed to possess a lesser fascination with charting the entirety of the earth or the vastness of the heavens. Their gaze was perpetually fixed on realms to be conquered, journeys to be embarked upon, or treasures to be claimed. The map wasn't a grand tapestry of the universe. It was merely a spreadsheet lined with roads. And yet, through the clarity of their maps, the Romans crafted an enduring legacy, a feeling of shared space, of being part of something grander than one's own town or tribe. It was a map of conquest, precise, intricate, and unyieldingly effective. In the realm of ancient cartography, Roman maps proudly showcased their intricate roads and administrative prowess, while their Chinese counterparts sought a deeper connection, weaving together the threads of territory, governance, and the celestial order. In China, maps transcended mere geographical representation. They served as political manifestos, philosophical reflections, and mirrors of the cosmos. To chart the terrain was to grasp one's position in the cosmos and to govern it wisely. In the ancient land of China, whispers of the past reveal that some of the earliest known maps emerged during the 4th century BCE. Unearthed from the depths of tombs, such as the one at Mawangdui, these exquisite silk maps depict rivers, roads, and military positions, not to scale, yet remarkably intricate for their era. These artifacts were not crafted for wanderers. Instead, they were interred alongside the departed, possibly to lead the spirit onward or to showcase the dominion of the one who had passed. During the era of the Han Dynasty, spanning from 206 BCE to 220 CE, the art of map-making had reached a notable level of sophistication, in the grand tapestry of governance. Officials wielded maps as their guiding stars, charting the sprawling provinces of the empire, delineating the realms of taxation, and orchestrating the intricate dance of military campaigns. In the realm of land measurement, tools such as the gromer and sighting instruments emerged as remarkable allies, unveiling the Earth's dimensions with astonishing precision. Some Han maps showcased coordinate grids, long before they graced the Western world. In the 3rd century CE, a remarkable figure emerged in the realm of geography. Pei Su, a Chinese scholar whose influence would resonate through the ages. He laid down the essential principles for crafting scientific maps, highlighting the importance of scale, direction, and uniform measurement. concepts that would serve as the bedrock for future mapping traditions in China and Korea. His contributions were held in such high regard that he earned the title of the pioneer of Chinese cartography. Yet, the maps of China extended their gaze beyond the mere confines of our planet. The significance of cosmological charts was profound. In the vast expanse of the Chinese sky, constellations danced together, forming celestial palaces and embodying symbolic creatures: the majestic azure dragon of the east, the fierce white tiger of the west, and many others, each telling a tale of wonder and mystery. These celestial charts directed all aspects of life, from farming practices to grand imperial ceremonies. The emperor, revered as the son of heaven, was thought to govern in harmony with the divine order of the cosmos. Should his maps, and consequently his governance, lose their balance, so too would his claim to authority. In China, the map transcended its role as a mere bureaucratic instrument. It stood as a connection between the celestial and the terrestrial. In every stroke and line, whether chiseled in stone, brushed on silk, or inscribed in bronze, a map told a tale that transcended mere geography. It illuminated the emperor's skill in bringing order to the tumult of existence. In a realm distant from the grand empires of Eurasia, the Polynesians crafted a remarkable and intricate way of navigating the world. Their method transcended the conventional tools of paper, ink, or scale, instead drawing upon profound experience and the art of intuitive memory. Behold the stick charts of the Marshall Islands, a remarkable testament to a unique perspective on geography, one that navigates not through land, but across the vast, embracing sea. In the vast expanse of the ocean, the Polynesians emerged as extraordinary navigators, skillfully charting their courses across the waves. Long before European explorers set their sights on the Atlantic, there were those who traversed the immense Pacific, guided by the stars above, the rhythm of the swells, the flight of birds, and the whispers of the clouds. In a world devoid of compasses and written words, their maps had to weave a different tale, not merely static images, but vibrant memory aids and tactile guides for those embarking on the journey of navigation. Crafted from slender coconut fronds or wooden strips, these charts were intricately lashed together with twine. The graceful arcs mirrored the rhythm of ocean swells, dancing in a predictable manner across the vast expanse of open water. Little shells or knots signified distant lands. The careful placement of the sticks unveiled the secrets of wave refraction and interference patterns, empowering navigators to interpret the ocean's surface as if it were a detailed map. Various kinds of charts existed. Rebelib charts spanned vast archipelagos, weaving tales of exploration, while Meadow concentrated on the intricate details of smaller regions or particular journeys. In the tale, there existed Marang enigmatic teaching instruments crafted to illuminate the mysteries of wave behavior in the vicinity of islands. These were never intended to accompany journeys across the seas. Instead, they were explored, cherished, and woven into the fabric of understanding. A masterful guide could traverse vast distances, relying solely on their instincts and the wisdom gleaned from the ancient stick chart. To those who might not see beyond the surface, these maps appeared as if they were fractured ladders or avant-garde art pieces to a Polynesian wayfinder. These elements embodied profound ecological wisdom, cultivated not through domination or mathematical precision, but through an intimate and reverent connection with the natural world. Polynesian cartography beautifully defied the Western belief that a map must be purely visual and literal. Their maps unfolded in the realm of the tangible, woven from experiences, and frequently eluded the eye as they journeyed forth. Transcended mere documentation. It was an experience to be savored. In numerous respects, these charts weave together the realms of science and spirituality in a captivating dance. These tales were woven into the fabric of oral tradition, cherished by navigation schools, and Revered as sacred treasures in a vast ocean that could engulf the bravest of sailors, they guided the Polynesians on a journey, navigating not only the waters, but also the depths of memory, the pulse of rhythm, and the wisdom of their ancestors. As the ancient world transitioned into the medieval era, the art of map-making transformed, moving from the realm of scientific observation to that of symbolic interpretation. Across various regions, particularly in Europe, the art of map-making evolved to focus more on conveying spiritual insights rather than adhering strictly to physical precision. The outcome? Maps brimming with creatures of the night, utopias, fiends, and a perspective where the heart of the land often mirrored the heart of faith. In the tapestry of medieval cartography, the TO map stands out as a remarkable emblem, shaping the European mindset from the dawn of the Middle Ages through the vibrant Renaissance. In these maps, the world unfolds as a circle, the O, elegantly divided by a T into three distinct realms: Asia gracing the top, Europe nestled in the lower left, and Africa positioned in the lower right. Jerusalem frequently found itself at the heart of the narrative, embodying the spiritual essence of the known world. East often held the highest position, not north, for it was thought to be the very location of the Garden of Eden. These maps were crafted not for the purpose of guiding one's journey. They served as instruments of faith, weaving together a tapestry where the very landscape of the world echoed the narratives of sacred texts. Territories bore the names of Noah's sons, while the uncharted realms beyond the borders teemed with bizarre creatures, beings with canine heads, feet resembling umbrellas or faces nestled within their chests. As one ventured farther from Jerusalem, the oddities began to unfold, yet not every medieval map was merely a representation of symbols. In the 12th century, the Tabula Rogeriana emerged, crafted by the Arab geographer al-Idrisi, weaving together the threads of empirical observation and artistic expression. Once upon a time, a Norman king in Sicily commissioned a grand silver map crafted from the tales of travelers, traders, and sailors who journeyed through both the Muslim and Christian realms. It was intricately detailed and highly practical, standing apart from its European counterparts, with the South positioned at the top, a hallmark of Islamic cartography. In the midst of it all, the rich tapestry of Jewish, Indian, and Buddhist traditions wove together conceptual world maps, not for the sake of navigation, but to illuminate the profound metaphysical structure of existence. Mount Meru, a majestic presence, stood as the cosmic axis in numerous Indian and Tibetan maps, encircled by symbolic continents and divine realms, weaving a tapestry of myth and meaning. These medieval maps invite us to ponder that mapping transcends mere locations. It reflects the beliefs and interpretations people hold about the world around them. In a time when the horizon whispered secrets and shadows danced with fear, the map transcended mere navigation. It became a reflection of one's innermost being. As the vastness of the world expanded within the human imagination, so did our yearning to encapsulate it, not merely to traverse from one place to another, but to delve into the essence of our being, our origins, and the wonders that envelop us. In the days of yore, maps crafted by hand, with their imperfections and enigmatic symbols, wove the very fabric of our modern world, shaping its spaces, orders, and the quest for precision. What weaves the fabric of ancient maps is not precision, but purpose. Babylonian tablets were not designed to guide you through the streets. Instead, they unveiled the profound spiritual architecture of the cosmos. In the land of ancient Egypt, maps served as vital tools for tax collectors and priests, guiding them in their sacred duty to uphold divine order amidst the ever-changing rhythms of floods and the will of the gods. In the realm of ancient Greece, maps emerged as a groundbreaking innovation, weaving together the concepts of scale and geometry, and daring to suggest that the vastness of the world could indeed be quantified. The intricate tapestry of Roman road maps wove a sprawling empire into a cohesive whole, enabling legions, messengers, and merchants to traverse the land with seamless precision. In the ancient realms of China, maps emerged as intricate tapestries, weaving together the celestial dance of the stars with the art of governance. Each line and contour sought to embody the delicate balance between the heavens above and the earth below, a testament to the enduring quest for harmony. Amidst the familiar, there emerged the outliers, the Polynesian stick charts. These creations, both tactile and abstract, revealed a profound truth. Not all maps are meant to be seen. Some are crafted to be felt and etched into memory. In the age of yore, the sacred maps of the medieval realm brimmed with fantastical creatures and heavenly realms, revealing not merely the geography of the world, but the profound significance it held for those who dared to gaze upon them. Even the imperfections in ancient maps reveal a wealth of knowledge. They illuminate what held significance for a culture, what was at its heart, what evoked fear, and what was revered. These maps weave a narrative that geography is far from impartial. It embodies our priorities, power dynamics, myths, and collective memories. The Greeks positioned themselves at the center, as did the Chinese, and likewise the Europeans. Each individual spun their own tale, with themselves as the protagonist in the grand narrative of existence. In this modern age, with the marvels of satellite imaging and the finesse of digital precision, we can map our world with astonishing accuracy, right down to the very last meter. Yet, the fundamental drive that fuels cartography has endured through the ages, rooted in our intrinsic desire to find our place within a vast and intricate world beyond our own yacht, be it a papyrus scroll, a clay tablet, or a luminous phone screen. Each map unfolds the same timeless inquiry. In what realm do I find myself?